Probably not even through our little comedy bit.
No, because
I'm out of here.
if she came in, I'd have to do the Betsy Price intro.
You boys have a good time.
Surprise.
You boys have a good time.
You
I'm out of
guys,
here.
you know how to keep Fort Worth fucky. Isn't that how I did it?
Oh, look at New York. They're going at it still.
You cut out the
Damn.
Oh, never mind.
America in
Man.
pain.
Have you watched have y'all watched Last Dance yet?
No, I've not seen it yet.
She's in it, and you're like, when she was first starting out, you're like, oh my gosh, man.
Oh yeah.
When
She
was
had
on
long
ESPN.
hair, didn't she?
Not I can't remember if she did
thought
in
she
the
did.
in the bit. Dude, that's good. Have you watched it all yet?
I haven't even started.
Oh, it's fucking awesome, man.
Was it like what 10 episodes?
I think
I may do that
I
this
need
weekend.
to go back because I started watching it like in the middle of it, and apparently it's streaming now on ESPN.
Yeah.
So and Seth was, but I've heard all the good stuff on the radio, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And I lived. That was when I was heavy into basketball too, so I remember all that shit.
All
Only
right.
thing that I didn't know was the Jerry. What's his name? Jerry, not the
Orr?
owner.
Jonestown?
No, the owner of the Bulls. Then I forgot what a dick he was.
Oh, he was.
I couldn't remember. I didn't remember that part of it because I was so into the basketball of the whole thing.
It's all pre-recorded, isn't it?
It looks like
Unless
It's not
that's-
live, like
recorded footage.
because
yeah.
this looks like something they put together, some type of package. But I'm
That's
keeping
what
the
it works.
TV up in case, because we're in the curfew hour now.
Oh, where's it after 8? Oh, yeah.
It's after 8, so.
Which can you drive or not?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Yeah,
you
you
can
can
drive.
drive.
You just can't be out shooting like
Yeah,
fucking
like,
around,
on the
right?
streets. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't be walking your dog, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You can't be doing shit, loitering or whatever.
All
I
right.
think tomorrow's the last day, right? Or Friday's the last day?
Well, Betsy did 72 hours. I don't know how long Dallas is
72.
doing.
Okay, that's
Mhm.
good. So,
But it's just going to kick back into this weekend.
You think they'll stop?
So,
people from
what
going
I
on
heard-
this weekend?
Oh, wait, I might
This
wait till
weekend
we're
it's gonna be
air
going on
before I say
again.
this.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk about all this. All right, let's do this. You ready? Like you said,
Bit.
we put a bit together just because it was already an idea before all hell broke loose. That has to do with the launch, and then
Thought of it while I was on shrooms watching the launch.
yeah, we'll just shoot shit real briefly and then go.
We'll catch up.
The I'm gonna record this channel 2.
Ooh,
If you see something on TV that looks hot, like going down,
good gosh.
I can plug in
Oh, okay.
the audio feed and we can hear what they're saying or
Need
whatever.
Another piece of ice in this.
So
man.
that's it.
Lord.
Yeah.
It's strong, huh?
Yeah.
It's good. It's got bite.
I gotta drive home when they're checking people on the way and stuff.
In YouTube land, you may not hear the intro
YouTube
song.
land.
I'm gonna try.
But listen to the end of the show because it's our
They just got
gift
ran
to
over.
you.
Oh, my God.
Our gift to you.
Here we go. Let's do this. Everybody's ready? Yep. Let's do it.
This episode of the
Last Kicker.
is brought to you by
Geist Note.
and
Victor Wrench.
and Plastic Object.
This program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
So yeah, it was just amazing. The rocket just took off. Can you imagine being
No.
aboard one of those things?
No, I can't.
I'd love to feel it just once.
There's been guys and girls that have gone up in one, right?
Yeah,
Like together.
yeah, exactly. Like the whole space shuttle program's that way.
What it's like to have sex in space. Dustin? Dustin?
Dustin? Dustin?
Yeah.
All right, let's get our game face on.
I just can't believe we're sitting here finally after all these months.
We've been doing this for 20 years, training for this.
I know, but we're finally sitting here in these chairs.
We don't have time for
Dragon MD on countdown 1.
Oh, that's not for us. We're all good. Are you playing Call of Duty on your phone?
Well, yeah,
We're about to take off into space.
Warzone.
Copy, loud and clear.
Could he
Glad
shut
to
up?
have you guys on board. Stand by for comm check on Dragon Aground.
That was for us.
Yeah, come in, Dragon Ground. Keep it down.
We hear you loud and clear.
I'm in the middle of a plunder.
Yeah. Astronaut Stubbs is up here playing Call of Duty. I don't think he understands that there's not going to be Wi-Fi or cell signal in space.
Dragon, launch director on countdown 1, comm check.
We
Dustin, I ate that
That's
edible. at lunch.
What? Before lunch?
Yeah, at lunch.
I have
before
you the same, man. Good afternoon. Stand by for my comp check on Dragon to Ground.
He did too.
Dragons? What? Okay, so you had an edible at lunch.
I had
Dragon, prompt on countdown 1, comp check.
Oh, that's us.
Before lunch.
We hear you. We are good to go.
Could you tell them to shut the fuck up?
Copy over.
Yeah. Before lunch, I
Falcon
had
9
lunch.
is in startup. Dragon is in countdown.
Falcon 9, Dragon
FPS
down
is
to
armed for launch.
countdown. Shut up.
This is it, dude. And
So yeah,
so it's kicking in right now.
It's been kicking in for like 30 minutes.
We're like a
man.
minute away from launch.
I know.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
I'm kind of freaking out, man.
I gotta pee,
You gotta piss?
and we're gonna be in these suits for 19 hours.
I have to shit, and I'm not done with this battle zone.
Oh,
Battle
my God.
Royale.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Here we go.
That's that hot one, man.
She is hot. Did you
know.
bang that?
Man, I wonder what she smells like.
Are we
She
gonna
smells
have-
like strawberries and cream.
There are those Russian cosmonaut women in the ISS, right? That's where we're going.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Hey,
Oh,
what's
here we
up?
go.
Hey,
15 seconds. Let's
15
sit back.
seconds to what?
Oh, shit.
10, 9,
what are they counting down,
8,
man?
We are
7,
leaving. Sit back.
Wait. This
Five.
is a
Hold on.
ride.
4,
No.
What's going on?
3,
We trained for
Two.
this.
Wait, I got to
One.
shit.
0.
Oh my
Ignition.
God!
Fucking stoned as a motherfucker. Fuck! Wow! Fear boner! Fear boner! Total fear boner! It's coming up the backside! Make it stop! We're done! Land! Dragon to ground control. We gotta land. I need to land. I don't like this. Woo! What a rush! My TT tickles! I think I just shit my pants! I already did, and I'm high! Yeah!
Power autometry nominal.
So yeah, the doctor he came into the room and just told me all I got to do is eat more yogurt and it'll clear up.
What?
Yeah.
Did I miss something? What are you talking about? Show number 372.
Whew, man.
It is Tuesday, June 2nd.
Baby Roach.
I'd say happy Tuesday, Matt, but this week hasn't been too
Happy
happy.
Tuesday. Can I get some more of me? A little bit more of me? I feel like I'm still up in space.
Are you?
Yeah. A little more? I don't know. There we go. Now I won't yell talk.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, happy Tuesday.
Happy
Dustin.
Tuesday.
You didn't tell me about this.
Whoa.
Whew.
This
Smack
TX
yo mama.
Yeah. It burns, doesn't it?
I got to drive home in a curfew and stuff on this stuff. You
Well,
know? I don't know.
you need to- you're a big boy.
Uber it?
You need it. You're a big boy. You can take care of yourself.
It says 63.6%.
Percent. Yes.
Goodness,
That's
man.
the way you make bourbon, buddy.
Yeah, it's good. It's bitey.
It is bitey.
Bitey. Very bitey.
Bitey, bitey.
Bitey. Bitey, bitey, bitey.
And we have two guests with us this evening.
One fresh off the protest lines,
Fresh from the front lines.
It stink.
and the other one from work.
And the other one from just good old work.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, no,
Yee.
that's
Ah.
Wrong
Ooh.
one. Wrong one.
Technical Dragon down. Dragon down.
Producing on air.
All right, we are
There we
doing
go.
that. I don't like having the knobs that far.
Yeah, you need to
I
scoot
need
it
to-
up.
I'm gonna have to switch some things around with this setup. Anyway, happy Tuesday, Sosa.
Happy Tuesday, guys.
So happy Tuesday.
It's been a while since you've been in.
Dude, it has. It's a pleasure to be back.
Love having you in here,
I
man.
miss and love you guys.
We have missed and loved you too. And at the far end of the table,
Was there a Star Wars release?
Wow.
Are we talking about
No.
football?
Yes, the EPL is coming back, so we have Dante here.
Yeah.
Yay.
Dante. Fan of Manchester City.
Wrong.
No, the other Manchester
The
team.
correct
So,
Manchester.
There's only one Manchester team. What are we talking about here?
real quick, let's knock this out of the way because this is why you're here, right? Just to talk about the EPL returning.
United would have won.
Mm,
They would have made a massive comeback, right?
yeah.
They're continuing the season June 17th.
Oh, I thought it was. Is it 17th?
That's the first game.
Okay.
And then that weekend is when all the matches are going to be played. So June 19th through the 21st. My question to you is, where are we setting up shop and getting drunk
Well,
In
to
here?
watch these?
I mean, the bars are opening back up,
They are.
so we could go upper 90. We could go.
But it's still 25% up there, right?
Is this place over here?
The pond or whatever
Across the
pond.
Is that still open?
That's a restaurant,
know.
so that might be 50%, right?
They could be 50% considered a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I haven't heard that. That's the thing that's scary about the COVID thing. Let's just jump into depression right off the bat.
Mhm.
But after the first phases, like you had Wheels of Glory and Fire come out and say we're gonna do this 2 weeks and then we're gonna do 50%. But after this last 50% opened up, Wheels of Glory and Fire haven't said anything.
Uh-uh.
I think we're gonna stay here at this 25-50 for a little bit.
And today was the worst day that Dallas,
Dallas
has
County.
had.
16 deaths, 254 cases.
Yeah. The worst day since all of this began.
And guess who was in town?
Wheels of Steel, your buddy.
Wheels of
Your
Steel
boy.
and Fire.
Uh,
Wheels of Steel, Glory, and Fire.
I think it needs to be Wheels of Glory because that's like the game
Wheels
Blades of Glory.
of Glory.
Right?
Yeah, let me throw out the fire. It's just
Yeah,
I like when
Wheels
he's
of-
fired up and he's like, Texas will defend themselves. That's the fire.
Like the old Kanami
Wheels of Fire.
hockey game.
Wheels of Glory. Let's
It needs
just
to be
keep it
Wheels
at
of
that.
Glory.
Then you're
Yeah,
right.
That works.
It rolls off the tongue better too.
Way better. It's way easier. Totally way easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
way better than hey, governor, in a wheelchair.
Well, that's just wrong. I mean, in my book.
If you're his people, aren't you thinking about if you heard the Jerry Jonestown Massacre podcast? This guy's wrong for something, man. Wheels of Glory. I like that as a slogan for my campaign. of
Everywhere,
2020.
every room he wheels into, Chariots of Fire plays.
Dude. Yeah. For some reason, that song always made me think about sex, not track. I don't know why.
What?
Well, maybe it's a homoerotic thing that's it's in my brain that came through the movie.
Don't
Don't you think
understand
so? That song doesn't remind you of sex? Just
It makes me think of running.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, not me, dude.
Like
It makes me
running.
think of
Slow
running
motion.
to Wally World.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
where it
exactly.
makes me
Wally
think of
World.
running to. It's Wally World.
There we go. That's
Spectacle should come out to that music someday.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
I'll make that happen.
Yeah,
Since now I'm building samples, so I'll make that happen.
yeah.
go.
Sosa's got a project.
He does.
telling me
That's
before you
that's
came out
why
here,
he's
man.
here. He's here to talk about his project.
No, that's not why I'm here today.
I'm trying to make it
That's-
happy before we get really dark because
But
things
yes,
are going to fall off really quick.
We can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, you got your project going. How's that?
Yeah, I've got it's fun. It's really fun.
Is it?
I've got some old Raven Charter songs that didn't make it because we never did another album that we initially planned on doing. I've got some old Huffer songs, like same thing. Huffer wrote like 15 songs before we broke up again, so I've got some of those.
Is Che okay with you ganking those?
Well, they're ones I wrote.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're just,
Yeah,
just
then fuck
You
Che.
have full ownership.
I've
of 'em.
got like 30 songs laying around that I'm not doing anything with. I'm going to take 12.
He's
of
not
them
going to notice anyway,
and
man. He's
put them together. So.
He's gone down
That's
the
tight.
Magnum PI
Right,
wormhole.
right.
Are you bringing anybody in, like from the
Yes,
bands, to
yeah.
play on them?
I'm gonna play I'm gonna play as much as I possibly can. Some of the drums are out of my range, and so I'm gonna have some guest drummers on it. I'm gonna have the Raven Charter guys come in and guest bass, guest guitar. On a
You can
song
play
or two.
drums?
Yes.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's fun. I've actually been playing drums about as long as I've been playing bass, but I didn't
Really?
own a drum kit until I don't know 7 years ago or something.
Oh, okay.
Expensive.
I lived with my bandmates, and so I always just played my drummer's kit
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Pretty
So,
sweet.
yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, you keep posting stuff before all hell broke loose
Right.
with the COVID, and then leading up to all this,
Yeah.
you were posting photos of you recording and working on stuff. I was like, hell yeah, all right, this will be interesting. I'm excited.
It's been from someone who likes collaborating with musicians and likes writing music that way with other people, this has been a really interesting experience to do it just all by myself, because I'm usually bouncing ideas off. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? You know, and I'm just like, anything goes. It's like, even if it's a bad idea or a stupid idea, like I'm like, I'm gonna do it, because why not? You know.
Is it all old demos, or do you have some brand new stuff?
So
that
it
you've
is
come
some.
up with?
Once I started going through some old stuff, I got new ideas. And I don't do lyrics really. That's kind of my weak point. So I didn't have a concept back in like December, January. Once I started doing it, I was like, you know what? I was telling Matt this before the podcast started. I've been saying for years, where the fuck is the next Rage Against the Machine? Like, we need another political activist band out there speaking to people.
I think I said that 4 years ago,
right
when it started looking like shit was about to hit the fan.
An hour and a half ago,
we
you
need
said
that
it too.
I also said it too.
And that's who bands like Rage, bands like Bad Religion, you know, bands, you know, there's a million protest bands out there. I could list a million, but like that type of stuff, I feel like isn't. I mean, rock music in general just isn't popular right now, and a lot of that stuff tends to be a lot of rock music. So
screw what's popular.
Well, exactly. So I'm writing a rock album, but I decided like, well, I'm gonna fucking make it political. Like, why not? That's what my passion. If I'm gonna write lyrics, I gotta like have something to say. Well, all my ideas are, you know, pretty politically oriented or economically oriented or historically oriented or whatever. So put it all in there, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing.
You've been
And then all this
sampling
happened.
anything at the march?
Oh yeah. So I've been running my GoPro for the past I got 8 or 9 hours of GoPro footage, and then I've been running my phone battery dead every day, taking pictures and photos and trying to post them on.
Are you going to
social
edit all
media.
that stuff?
Eventually.
Cool.
It's one of those things where it's all happening so fast. I want to get as much information
Yeah.
out as quickly as possible, and sitting down and like editing a video for 4 hours, I feel like I'm going to do that at some point. But right now, I'm just posting tweets and Instagram stuff.
All right, we'll
doing
get back to that because I got some questions about what you're actually documenting too. But Dante has a podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, do we call this a podcast?
I think we do because it's official. He brought us shirts.
I guess. I
and,
mean,
and loot.
yeah.
Silver.
We call it an interactive entertainment type of situation.
Because you don't put out an audio stream because the audio stream would be too weird with what you're doing.
Yeah.
With video games, and we talked about it last time you were in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool. So to break it down, what we did was we built an arcade cabinet, right?
Mhm.
And we decided, you know, why not have an arcade that instead of playing one game, we could play multiple games. So we put a little Raspberry Pi in it. If you're not familiar with it, it's this little programmable computer. You can run emulations on it and play whatever game you want. But we also allowed it to have the ability to plug in consoles to it.
Nice.
So we can go between, you know, retro gaming to current gen to semi-retro, you know, like 2 generations back or so. We can pretty much plug any console we want into it. And, you know, between Adam and I, we've got just a really large collection of video games. I mean, we've got systems all the way back from like ColecoVision all the way up to PS4.
Do you have Intellivision?
You know, actually, I think Adam does have one, but
I
we
have
don't
one.
have the correct inputs to put into the cabinet.
Okay. Because I was going to say I have one.
So I think
Just
it's
sitting in my
coax
apartment.
only.
Really?
Yeah. I've got Pitfall, Space Armada,
Wow.
and
Bottoms. Burger Time.
Tank, or what is it? You remember those games that came with 3? Like you had Tank, plane, like biplane, and like what was it? Something else I can't remember. But anyway, I've got several games.
Yeah.
So if you ever want me to come in and do
We
do a
definitely gotta-
demo.
Yeah, we got to have you guys
Your
on
videos
sometime.
look really good though. That all the things that I've seen you post on Facebook looks really good and professional.
Thank you. Yeah, we try to make it look professional, but we're definitely a mom and pop
You gotta
operation.
bring that bar down a little bit.
And you do them Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mhm.
When do you are you running them live or are you releasing them? Because I thought some were popping up in the middle of the week.
Yeah, we're running them live, so it's you know, we just kind of go on,
Okay.
and people that follow the page, it's Old Guys in the Garage at Facebook and Instagram, if you want to check us out.
How
But
much
we-
Warzone you guys have done?
So we've not really played a lot of Warzone. So there was a couple of nights where my partner Adam, who couldn't make it, I decided to play Call of Duty. Now this was before Warzone was released, so I just played a lot of like, you know, online team deathmatch and
Mhm.
you know, just whatever mode we were playing, and I would get a couple of buddies on, and then we run a Discord channel into it, so that way you can hear their audio as well.
Oh, nice.
So it's pretty fun, but because I was out in the garage, because we're actually in a garage, it's not just a name, like we're actually in a garage. And the Wi-Fi is kind of spotty. So, you know, running
Yeah.
an Xbox with Wi-Fi only, trying to play online, it got a little hectic. So that didn't last too long.
I thought you were supposed to go hardwired when you're gaming.
Oh, you are, but we have to run the hardwire
It's
for
too
the
much
PC.
stuff. Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Sounds like you need to upgrade your studio to like Joe Rogan status.
Oh, no
Whoa.
kidding.
So I've been wanting to come over and check it out,
Yeah, me too.
and I'm gonna self-invite myself over this Friday.
Well, like I said, we've been flirting with it for a while. So you guys want to come on Friday? We can play whatever games
Now
you
that
guys want to play.
COVID's done.
I've got father duties,
Oh,
so it'll
Father
have to be
poops?
next. Yeah, we'll have to do it another time.
Well,
Sound cool?
you have father duties all
Oh.
weekend.
Yes, Dante. I'm a
Okay.
good father.
are you?
Wow.
So yeah, that's cool, man. That's this thing. I had no idea how nice it was until I watched a couple of videos and stuff. And they got. What's
See-
your favorite old school game that y'all premiere on there?
I want to go over there and figure out their video setup.
I know.
Maybe I'll make.
Well,
ours
that's
a little
another thing I
better.
was gonna say. You got all this
Ours is out of
badass
control.
equipment in your garage. Are you guys worried? You got a big pit bull or anything
You
sitting
say
on guard?
you're going to be pleasantly surprised when you see how mediocre we've got it.
Oh, I've seen some of the behind the scenes shots. And
There's
I'm
already
like,
a B-roll.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it's not near as elaborate as this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very, like I said, it's very mom and pop.
Hold on, y'all got green screens.
Yeah, green screening.
We have no green screen in here.
I mean,
We've tried, but DNA ends up everywhere.
they're like $30 on Amazon, man.
No, I've got a whole like 3 rolls of green screen.
But
in the
DNA's
garage
all
for
over it.
photo shoots, but
Mm.
I don't bring it around Matt because of DNA issues.
Oh, no.
Don't take a black light to it, huh?
Yeah, no,
Got
no.
it.
Look like a goddamn cheetah
All over the face.
all over your face. Who did I say that to? Was that Susie?
Yeah, I think.
God, that was a classic. Man, I should write comedy.
Yeah.
They're showing
yeah.
it now.
Is this live? No.
Well, they were, yeah, no worries.
So, I had a couple things over the weekend. Went camping.
Yeah,
You went to the woods and got abducted by a
I
witch.
did. Got abducted by a witch. Had a good time.
What all happened? What I need to
I
know
don't
more
remember.
about this. There was random weird shit sent on all sorts of outlets, and I was like,
I
"What
didn't
is
realize
going on with
I didn't
him?
realize it till Monday either.
What'd you partake in?
Just fun stuff, man.
What kind of fun stuff?
Fun stuff. Just going out in the country, man.
And just getting
Finding
wild?
myself. Yeah.
Did you fire off some
An AR?
some guns?
No, no
I'm
guns.
in the country.
No guns, man. No, I had to go out of the city. It was beating me down.
That's why I went
So-
camping. I had to disconnect.
Yeah, I
And
thought
I'm
about
pissed
staying.
that it was only one night. There was I had a lot of good. It was fun. It was a
Yeah.
good time going out. But
Yeah, I went for one night though.
we went
That's
for one
brutal.
night, and the park we stayed in was full of people. I
Oh
would have
yeah,
felt
because
a
the
lot
game
better.
on, they opened up the parks.
Yeah, I would have felt a lot better either going to a state park or going to like the grasslands and just.
So let me ask you a question. Were there masks on campers?
No,
Okay.
no campers.
Was there social distancing?
There was no open restroom or showers.
Hmm.
It was all porta potties, which doesn't make
So
sense.
you couldn't have a hot
Yeah.
steaming bowl of man love in the showers?
No, but it was the boat dock was good for hot steaming
sorry,
man
dock?
love. They had a nice boat dock that went out in the ocean.
We had a space dock this week.
We did have a space dock. That was the next thing
A
I wanted to
real
get to
deal.
before we
Yeah.
dive off in the darkness.
So
But
who all
yeah,
went camping? You and the Lord?
The Lord. The Lord is.
Sorry. Oh, the Lords?
Yeah.
The whole crew?
Mm-hmm.
Squid and all.
Of acid.
Lords of Acid. That'd be
Uh,
cool.
Susanna
On a
showed
camping
up.
trip, Lords of Acid.
Yeah, the whole Lords of Acid crew showed up, and we went nuts all
Yeah.
night. The problem was, it's a public park in Granbury on Granbury Lake in D Cordova, and there was Tejano music blasting till about 3 a.m.
Oh, that's my neighborhood.
Okay, well, you're
Because you
racist.
could do anything. No, I'm not. How is that? I'm talking about a genre of
Thought
music.
we were going to wait to get into this, but you just jumped right into it.
It's a genre of music.
Go ahead and do your Tejano jokes real quick.
And it was just people talking, and people had their lights on. There were generators going to
Oh
like
my
2
God.
a.m. And I was like, I'm ready to go to sleep.
It
All the
kept you
drugs
up?
have worn off.
It kept you up?
Yeah.
The partying? Were you about to yell, "Hey, keep it down! Got kids over
No,
here,
no.
man!"
My idea
Let's pop
was
some
to-
rounds.
No, I didn't have a gun on me.
Jeez.
I'm not carrying a gun on me right now for specific reasons we'll get into later.
Okay.
But I just wanted to crank up my little Beats pill I have to just raining blood and just start blasting it at
Looping?
3 a.m.
I did that once up in Oklahoma, except it was I was cranking Power Trip, and they called. Then the state trooper came up. But I don't know how we dodged that, getting thrown into the
But
slimer.
Because you're white.
Cell phone was spotty.
Probably, honestly, probably.
Cell phone was spotty.
Yeah.
I just threw my phone in the tent since it was all spotty and everything. Huh? Oh, it's always nice when that happens. Yeah, I just threw my phone in the tent. Was just like, okay, disconnect. Who cares? And the only thing,
I've
I
done
went and
that a
looked at
lot
my
lately.
phone once, and the guys I do cowboy stuff with, and
Well,
all the sports stuff, the pro dance
I want
cheer
to do
stuff
cowboy
with,
stuff.
they messaged me because one of my buddy photographer was down in Houston.
Yeah.
They said, Houston's blowing up. So then I messaged my best friend down there and was like, is everything okay? And he's like,
Steadfast fan?
meh, it's okay. Yeah, John. You know John. Yeah.
Hey, John, you rock.
He wants all of us to get together and go camping somewhere mid-state.
Totally should.
I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, he was like, man, yeah, all hell's breaking loose, but it's downtown. He's outside.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, it's crazy. Some lady got stomped on by a horse.
I saw that. I saw the video.
So
Yeah, she was. I think honestly though, it looked like the police officer lost control of the horse.
I think the horse got spooked in
Yeah,
the
it got spooked,
situation,
and the
It
lady
wasn't-
got yeah.
It really having horses and stuff growing up.
Yeah.
The way that horse moved, it wasn't. It didn't look like he.
And the
just,
cop had panic.
Yeah.
Look, he's like, ah.
It did not look like he
No.
meant for it to happen, or the
bet-
way the horse was acting.
Yeah.
It was spooked.
Yeah, I felt bad for everyone involved in that, but I mean, there had to have been cop fart right then, just like panic fart when that
Oh,
shit
no.
happened.
When that happened,
If you're on
I
a
would've been like,
horse and it just starts going its own,
yeah,
and
horse,
fear boner.
Take me back to the station so I can change my underwear because I just ran over
That's-
a lady and all hell's about
Man,
to
that's how
break
I'd
loose.
break up Riot. That's how I'd break you guys up, man. I just cut a fart, dude. So on my horse, just that'd be end. The end of
That's
it.
just it.
Whoo! Riot over.
Riot over. And then
I'm kidding. You're not a rioter. I'm just
so I came
trying
home.
to be funny.
I came home Saturday when we got up in the morning. We hung out for a little bit, ate breakfast stuff, chit chatted. But then I bolted home to pick up this bourbon we have, this TX.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Barrel 2, this batch 2 barrel you can only get at their facility. It's amazing.
I was showing
Yes.
that to the cameras, to all the ladies and gentlemen of the night.
And it's great. And
is
then came home to watch the launch. Wanted to watch it with Aiden, and
It went off.
it went off. And
It's a lot different show than it was.
I'm not gonna lie, Saturday was a super emotional day all over the place.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
I got up.
It's been an emotional
I got up.
9
and was,
weeks.
I got up and I was all like discombobulated from only having a few hours of sleep. Then I come home and watch this launch, and I haven't been any stranger on this show to talk about how much I love space and the space program, and like just watching that happen again from our soil. A commercial flight, it wasn't NASA, it was SpaceX getting people to the ISS, and it was a beautiful, successful launch.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I didn't like about it was before you launch a rocket like that, you shouldn't show Challenger footage.
Oh my God.
Like
Why did they
30
do
minutes
that?
before the flight, they're showing Challenger footage. I'm like, why bring that up? Why talk about it?
yeah.
Why show that? But it was a whole package they did about the safety system, about how these SpaceX rockets will never happen again, supposedly.
Yeah.
Because if something like that happens, the capsule ejects and saves the crew. So they're really banking on never having a death in a launch situation. But it was interesting watching touch screens and
Yeah.
Yeah.
very
That was
minimal
really weird.
switches, and there's
Very Minority Report looking.
the only like actual physical thing to pull on is the emergency eject system that's in between them.
Yeah.
And yeah, everything else was just
It's cool now
I'm inside
because
a Tesla pushing
because
buttons.
Right.
the space shuttle left off right before this technology and audio and video just went insane. And now we're getting all these cool images and stuff during the launch and the
Well, it's-
docking.
the space shuttle was designed in the 70s. You couldn't
Yeah.
have updated it with all
No,
this
that
stuff.
you could. The docking would just be real censored and like fuzzy, like kind of like a cable station to see the docking. The docking now.
Is that what got you,
You could
excited?
see
Was space docking?
it was a space dock.
It was.
Yeah.
But man,
Soon we'll have
it was pretty cool.
an Alaskan pipeline video.
Maybe. That's got to be like,
Wait till the ticket hears about the Alaskan pipeline.
yeah.
Then
'Cause
we
they
know
stole space docking from us.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
They
once
totally
they start
did.
once
But I
Dan
think-
once Dan starts
no,
talking
no.
about the Alaskan pipeline,
When Jake was in here, we had space docking
On there?
drawn on the board, and he asked what that was.
we
and
need
were
to
like,
send
"Space
Jake
docking."
an email and say, "Hey man, you guys need to cover and do a segment on the Alaskan pipeline."
But it was, I shed a tear. I was like, this is
It was cool.
freaking amazing. This is cool as hell. And then someone
Dan?
contacted me during all this, a Mr. Man right over here,
What's up?
and was like, hey, I want to come on your show on Tuesday because
Yeah.
Brian's an asshole.
No,
And
that's not what I
then-
said.
No.
That's
And
not what I
then-
said, Brian. I didn't say that.
I immediately got a text from you that said Sosa's coming on the show, and I was like, "Okay, cool."
Cool.
Oh, so-
And then me and Sosa were talking back and forth, and he's like, it's going on. There's going to be a march tonight. I was like, really? I want to be a part of this. I want to see what this is. And for those listening, this is where we start our delve into darkness.
Well, the protest wasn't dark. Right?
No, the protest, I was super impressed with the protest. Yeah, I came down Saturday night. We met, like 5:30, 5:45,
Yeah,
somewhere
something
in
like
there.
that. Yeah.
The protest was, I guess, the speeches and everything started at 6, and we started marching around 6:30.
Mhm.
Now, one of the things I wasn't aware of was that we were actually going to walk, because I've seen protests at City Hall that just kind of stay there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
you're like, "Damn it, I don't want to
no,
walk."
no. One of the protests I saw that was just there was a Klan rally.
Oh dear
Whoa.
God!
Yeah.
Where in downtown Fort
Downtown
Worth?
Fort Worth.
How many
You
Klansmen were there?
So as much as we're all like, what the fuck? They have the right to speak.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that is county property where they can do it.
Mhm, mhm.
And
Is it really the
I
time
drove
though?
by.
For is it
No,
really
no,
the
no,
time
no.
for that?
When I saw that, it was like 10 years ago when it happened.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were
Yeah,
saying the same day.
No, not the
Oh,
same day. No,
okay.
no, no.
Oh.
Yeah,
no,
I
no,
was
no.
off.
This was like 10 years ago. And,
Yeah, I was still on
but
the
they
spaceship.
just stayed there
Mhm.
on the
They didn't
property.
march. Okay.
And when we were talking, that's what I was thinking.
Gotcha.
And then it was like, oh, we're going to march. Okay, cool. I was totally fine with it. And, man, I kind of told you this on Saturday once everything was done and we were texting back and forth.
Mhm.
The way I'm kind of built and wired in my brain is I'm very realistic on things,
Mhm.
on issues. The way I see things is a very realistic nature.
Mhm.
But I also see it in a very brutal way. Kind of like, oh, you did this,
Mhm.
and this happened. Well, that's what you're getting what you deserve,
Mhm.
type thing. That's the way I'm wired. That's the way I work. You know,
Mhm.
you killed a man in Minnesota.
Mhm.
All hell broke loose. What'd you think was going to
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
You know, that's how my mind worked. Being down there and being with other people that were all in support of the same thing and seeing the unity down there, I was shocked at how many white people were down there
Mhm.
and how many white people had signs, and then what their signs said, and then how united it was going down the street was beautiful. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
And there were times during the speeches I was like, I had to sit there and go,
Mhm.
this is deep. This
Mhm.
is heavy.
Mhm.
This is deep. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you is, did you win on Friday?
I went Thursday and Friday.
I didn't
and
know they had one on
Saturday.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday was the first one, and it was there was maybe 100 people.
Okay.
It was the organizers and me and my wife Amber, and and a few other people. And by the end, it was cool because when we marched, there was like 40 of us. But marching through the streets got a lot of people's attention. By the time we ended back at the courthouse, there was like 100 of us.
I noticed that on Saturday.
Yeah.
That was amazing. So on Friday, did they do the speeches too
They
beforehand?
didn't do the speeches on Friday, and they didn't do them on Sunday or Monday. But today there was about like an hour and a half of speeches.
before y'all went.
Actually, after we made it around town, so
Oh,
I got up
okay.
there at 2 today. They moved it up to 3 p.m. because of the curfew.
Mhm.
I got up there at 2, and there was already people there, and we did speeches at I was up there for so long, and I wasn't checking the clock the whole time. We probably did speeches about from 3:30 to 5, and then around 5 o'clock we started marching, and I left around 7. And that was what was interesting to me, and I love how you mentioned unity, because there was everybody was there. Everyone was there essentially for the same reason. Everyone has their personal reasons why they're there, right?
And complete families,
Yeah.
husband, wife, and all their
And
kids.
kids.
That was amazing.
Absolutely. And one thing I've noticed is that as more and more people come, there are other people who've got different perspectives. Maybe there were people that were speaking today who had family members that were murdered by police, and so they're not as happy about just marching, right? They want more done.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily calling for violence, but they're like, this isn't it. This isn't all we're gonna do, right? And there were people expressing that perspective. There were people expressing religious perspectives about how they feel like religion has left society, and that this is a product of that. I don't particularly agree with that. I think a lot of people at the protest don't agree with that, but that was a perspective that was there. That's a valid perspective. If that's how they feel, that's how they believe. They express that as well. There was a bunch of really young people. Were you there when the little 12-year-old girl talked?
I was there when
Or-
the 10-year-old boy
Yeah.
walked over there and
Yeah.
talked, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And
Yeah.
he started talking. A little 10-year-old white boy
Yeah.
walked over there
Yep.
and started talking and saying, I
It's a
don't know.
lot. It's a lot.
And he was talking about his friends and everything, and how it affects his family and
Yep.
his brother.
One thing that I was really proud of today was awesome. Today was definitely on another level. Like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and obviously Sunday, the tear gas and all that stuff went wrong on Sunday.
Before we talk about Sunday, I
Mhm.
want to get into that whole
Sure.
Sunday thing, because I was down there on the south side on Sunday, and I
Gotcha.
came up. But I want to talk about that
Interesting.
in a minute. But today,
But yet today was huge. It was huge.
from all the video, the overhead I've seen from it, it looked like the biggest crowd yet.
Yeah, I mean, so I marched in the women's march 4 years ago, right after Trump got inaugurated, and that was huge. That was the biggest I've seen in Fort Worth. I have a picture from the courthouse, and the thing was still down the street and around the corner. And when I took that picture, I don't even know how far down it went, right? And then we did the March for Life, March for Our Lives after the Stoneman Douglas shooting in Florida. That was also really big. There were a bunch of counter protesters there because of that thing, but it was big. There was thousands of people there.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday was not that. It was like I said, Thursday there was maybe 100 people there at the end of it. Friday there was maybe 100, between 100 and 200. Saturday, what do you think by the end of it? Maybe 300-400?
Yeah, probably so. It was interesting how when we were standing at the courthouse, and I've got some pictures, and I didn't even edit those or use them because everybody's sitting, or a bunch of people are sitting on the steps of the courthouse, and it doesn't look full. And that's one of the things I don't like projecting, is when events don't look full, because then someone would be like, "Oh, look,
It was very, very full. There was people everywhere.
Speaking of an inauguration,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but when we started walking, people came out. It's like a bunch of people were waiting in their cars or waiting for whatever, staying cool. But when we made our trek down Main towards Sundance, that group grew immediately. And then as we made our rounds around Sundance, people got in with us that were standing on the street. And one of the things I thought was super interesting, because I've been a part of a few marches over, compared to this, really dumb shit, like union shit and fighting for our jobs or whatever.
That's important.
It is.
Unions are important.
Like we're going to go on strike at work, and we're going to go march the
that
AT&T building
labor
and blah blah blah.
That's very important.
Not compared to this. Okay, this
You
weighs
say
a little
that, and I
more.
understand this because there's racial implications. You're not wrong.
And your life and
Yes.
lives.
Yes.
And what's happened to lives is way more important than, do I get a raise next year?
Sure.
Way
Sure.
more important.
Sure.
But as we walked around, the respect, it was like a funeral procession. People were stopping and just standing there and watching.
I'm listening.
I didn't see anybody be like, "Pfft," and turn around and walk into a building or walk into a shop or something. Everybody stopped and listen to what we were doing, and that was freaking amazing.
So you said that you before the show you were saying that you were contacted by someone or were having communication with someone about setting it up and everything. So are you a member of a group or something,
No.
or what are you talking
what
about
happened
there?
Thursday night? Me and my wife were driving around, I think, looking for dinner. I don't remember what we were doing, and we heard NPR, and they said, "Hey, there's a protest in Dallas tonight at 6 or 7 or something." It was like 5 o'clock or something. We were driving around, and my wife was like, "I wonder if there's one in Fort Worth," because usually when something's happening in Dallas, there's like a tiny version in Fort Worth that they're doing too. And so we Googled it, and there's a organization called United My Justice that was holding a rally on Thursday. They only have a Facebook page. They don't have a website. I don't use Facebook anymore, so I don't have like really access to their
That's why you
page
haven't
or
responded
anything.
to all my messages to you.
No,
man.
I got rid of Facebook
Sorry.
almost 2 years
We
ago.
have sent you so much stuff.
All those dick pics I sent.
But my wife got hit Donnell. What's his last name? I can't think of it right now. It's on my phone, but Donnell, she got his number, one of the head organizer, and so we've been in contact with him, and we just started going up there, every day. Like I said, the only day that we missed was Sunday. So to help out, like I'm not an organizer, I'm not affiliated with the organization. I just happen to be there, and I'm a musician, local musician in the town. I've got musical instruments. So what I've been bringing to the protest, bringing some water, bringing some hand sanitizer. I started bringing my snare drum. And just banging that to help people chant. It's really easy when people are doing call and response. All you got to do is a cadence or a rhythm on the snare, and people do it back. And then I brought a PA speaker. So I was like, did anybody have a megaphone on Saturday, or they still not have megaphones?
Saturday they didn't have one.
Okay.
No one had one?
No one had one Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
What the
They
hell?
do now.
That's what I was talking about. I need to bring mine down.
There was 3 or 4 today.
No, you
Oh, there were?
don't.
But
That stays here.
I went to Guitar Center yesterday and was like, "Do y'all have any battery-powered PA speakers?" And the guy I talked to was like, "Well, we got an acoustic guitar amp for $500 that's battery-powered." I was like,
We got this Bose power. and
exactly.
no.
I was like, "What about in Pro Audio? Do y'all have like just a PA speaker or something?" And then he was like, "I don't know." We went over there, and there was a $100 speaker that you can charge like a cell phone. It's got like 10 hours of power.
Really?
It's 25 watts, which isn't super loud.
But that's enough when you're rolling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And me and my wife just got a new puppy a couple weeks ago, so I bought a puppy backpack, like the little dog backpack.
Mm-hmm.
And we got that a couple of days ago. It was shredded in the mail, like the cage part that would hold the dog in wasn't there, and so I was gonna send it back, but I decided to see if the PA speaker fit inside of it, and it does. Yeah, it fit perfectly inside this little doggy backpack. So I wore that all day today, and the snare drum, and like ran around to the people with the loudest voice and put the mic in their face, and then would hit the drum. And then when they were giving speeches, there were a lot of speeches today. Man, I probably saw 30 speeches today, maybe more. The megaphones were going out of batteries, or people were holding it away from their mouth. I don't know people don't want to get up on the mic. I don't get it. Get up on it.
Yeah.
So I was kneeling with my microphone, Dave Chappelleing it, like sticking it in their megaphone. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I did all day. I was just on my knees.
Just pretend you're a reporter.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Yeah.
put the mic up into it, and I was facing outwards. So I was trying to make sure that everyone could hear what they were saying.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like what they're saying is important. And I was noticing nobody could hear what they were saying. Those earlier Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I was like, okay, I can do something about this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's go do something about it. So it went really well today. Everyone heard the speeches. There were a lot of giving speeches. I'm getting all worked up. We got split today during the march.
Okay.
So it got kind of confused. There seems to be 2 factions, as there always is with these types of movements. There's the people who are advocating for nonviolence, and there are others who are advocating for violence, who want other things.
From my understanding, is also what happened on Saturday.
Yes, and
Or Sunday.
That's pretty much been every night. There's been different amounts of people. I mean, the organizers are peaceful.
Did it happen last night? Was there a splinter group that
yeah,
tried to go
pretty
across 7th again?
Every night I've been there, there's been, I don't know if I want to call it a splinter group, but there's been people who've been coming who are not about peaceful, who pretty much keep shaming people for marching. Like, you guys are just out here marching. This isn't enough. This isn't going to fix anything. And
do you recognize these people?
No,
Are
a
they
lot of
local?
them are really young. And
Are
I
they
think,
local?
Yeah, they're all local. Most of these people are local. What's been super inspiring, I've seen some of my ex-students at the protest.
Oh,
Or
cool.
That's
a couple.
awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck yeah. Like, that's
But the
what it's all
faction,
about.
the faction that's going out there. That's basically what I'm getting at. Is there's a lot of rumors that say that are going around about the people that are trying to start violence,
Mhm.
instigate stuff.
those
aren't
people
local.
Yeah, and I've heard that too. And so with Sunday, like I said, I wasn't there Sunday night, which I'm kind of glad I wasn't. The people, what was it? 50 people were arrested at the end of the night. Pretty much. So the organizers told everyone to leave. They all sat down on the bridge. They all kneeled. The cops kneeled, and then they were like, okay, cool. Everybody go home, and like half the crowd left, and the other half, the people who were wanting more, right? The people who were wanting to cross the bridge into West 7th, the people who were wanting to do stuff not affiliated with the organization, stayed. And so eventually, I think, like I said, I wasn't there, but I was trying to read as many reports as possible. I had friends who were there. There was like an initial show of force from the police, and half who were there left.
Yeah.
And the remaining 50 or so people were all arrested.
So
and of those 50, 25 were Fort Worth.
Were Fort Worth.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. This might get hot. So get ready to
Go
dump.
for it. That's what we're here
What
for.
is your what were the people that were instigating violence? What were you hearing them chant out there? What was their main?
So it wasn't. They weren't getting chants really, because there weren't people.
They were just yelling and demeaning y'all.
I'll give you one. One of the chants is no justice, and everyone goes no peace.
Right.
Say no justice, no peace, no racist police, no racist police. Well, that ended up getting more and more derogatory and more violent in its language towards the police. Some people would try and start chanting and yelling at the police and like pointing at them and like, fuck you,
trying to
racist police,
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. And so that's not like these people are here to help us. These people are stopping traffic so the cars don't run over us as we're marching. Yes, the police are riding alongside us with bicycles the entire time. They've been there every day. It's
That's
the same cops.
Thing that I wanted to really emphasize real quick was Fort Worth has done it right. Fort Worth PD comes in, and there's probably I'm going to say 24 cops on bikes. They come, they ride beside the protest
on the sidewalk.
There are usually 3 or 4 up front, and there's usually about another half dozen. So there's 24 in all, but there's usually about a dozen riding with the group.
On the sides.
There's 1 or 2 in the back. There's 3 or 4 in the front, and then each block on each side of it, there's another half dozen closing off streets and looking out.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I did on Saturday was I went back to the courthouse because what I wanted to do was set up and catch the group coming towards the courthouse and get some shots. Well, the way everyone was snaking around, they kept going to all these different, and I kept waiting. Well, at the courthouse, there were 4 sheriffs, and I set up shop and talked to them. And all 4 of them were like, I just started throwing questions at them. And as things got a little more comfortable, I started getting deeper and harder core with these questions. Well, one of the things we were talking about, like the permit. Usually you have to have a permit to have a demonstration like this. All of them said, yeah, that's out the window with this. This is way too important. No permit. We don't need a permit.
That's cool.
The other thing is they told me about all the bicycle cops showing up. They're not on duty.
Wow, I did not know that.
Well,
Okay.
I thought both Dallas and Fort Worth had all hands on deck for the whole weekend.
No, but you're saying they're not getting paid.
That's what I said. They're not. That's what he told me was
But
they
they're not
weren't
getting paid?
Yeah.
And so that's interesting because
I
I've
don't know.
heard those guys, because it's the same 12, 24 bike cops.
Yeah.
You're right. Every day it's the same people. We see the same faces.
Yeah.
And so they coordinate with the organizers, and they kind of go like, hey, what's the route? Let us know when
That's
you're going
what's
left,
awesome.
when you're going right, that sort of thing. Yeah, like there, and what the fuck was I going to say? It's, yeah.
So we were standing up there, and the protest came up, the march came up Weatherford Street, and it turned right there by Texas Day Brazil, and then it turned to go back opposite direction up Belknap. And when it started going, or maybe it went Belknap down around. I know that's what it was. Y'all came up Throckmorton and went down Belknap. Throckmorton, we had broken off and gone, because I was like, okay, they're going to work their way around. Yeah, I went up to Belknap. I was standing with the sheriffs, and they radioed ahead to the jail and said they're headed your way. Just so keep an eye out, watch things. Well, the sheriff's department was was
Oh,
radioing.
so you weren't at the jail?
No, I wasn't at the jail.
Oh, damn.
Which
okay.
that's when everybody kneeled, right?
Yeah,
was right
that
around
was
there.
awesome. So it was really cool on Saturday. That was, in my opinion, like one of the better days, except for today. Because like Thursday and Friday, it was loosely organized, right? But they put some thought into it before Saturday, and they intentionally had us stop at certain places and had us kneel in front of those places. And one of the organizers gave a little educational 1 or 2 minute speech to everybody while they're kneeling, like, "Hey, this is what this place is. This is why this is important. This is why our voice is important." So we stopped at City Hall. I can't think of the second place we stopped, and we stopped at the jail. And that was the coolest thing, is because we knew people could hear us.
Yeah.
Up there, right? And in the doorway at the jail, police were kneeling in the doorway. And when we were stopped there, she started talking about how a lot of people who are locked up in here right now are wrongly convicted. You know, that's one of the big problems with the criminal justice system. And as they're doing that, the police officer or guard, I don't know, maybe he's one of the prison guards, I'm not sure, was like totally shaking his head, like, yeah, absolutely. There's definitely people inside here that are totally wrongfully convicted. Absolutely, you know? And so it was cool to see the police, you know, nodding their heads and going, yep, totally, absolutely. And today, the cops kneeled again. I know they did that for the cameras, I think, yesterday. Did it again today. So we got split today. We were marching, and they haven't let us in Sundance at all the entire time. And they, like, through the middle of it.
I thought they let them in on Sunday.
Maybe they did. See, like I said, I wasn't there.
Because I saw pictures of them right where the fountains are.
Okay. So every time I've been there, they haven't let us do that. But today, at the first 100 or 200 people, there might have been like 3,000 people there when I left. I don't know. It was a lot of
Seriously?
Yeah,
I mean, we
dude.
saw the overhead camera, and it was insane.
It was, yeah.
But a lot of people
But the first chunk turned into Sundance, where the fountains are and everything. And then the cops kind of like were like, no. But like some had already gone, and then they kind of snipped us off, and the rest of us just kind of started circling around Sundance. But like all the main organizers were in that first group. And so it was like me at it's literally split right in front of me. And so, like, I'm at the front with a couple of other people who are very vocal, but not affiliated with the organization, but they've been on the mic a lot. And so that people just kind of look, oh, this is leadership. Like, okay. And so we just start fucking aimlessly marching around the streets, not really knowing where we're going. The cops are really confused because we're taking a right when we're supposed to be taking a left or whatever. It's just a really weird thing. But it was really cool because even though that was going on, the cops were fine. That we would stop to let them catch up. If we went in a wrong direction, or if they were confused, if they went left and we went right, we would just stop and we would let them go, and they would catch up. And then if we also up at the front were kind of, I guess, faster than other people. We were more hyped or whatever. Maybe our chants were just a little quicker. We were spreading out, right? And so the cops would what we would do is we'd get up to an intersection and the cops are stopping traffic, and we'd turn around and there's like, 30 people, and then like back 100 yards is everybody else. And so we were like, you know what? Let's just stop here. Let all these cars go.
Yeah.
They're stuck in traffic. Let them go.
Working.
Yeah, exactly. And so we did that 3 or 4 times. We're just like, let traffic go. We're gonna let everybody catch up, and then we'll go again. The cops did that. There was no issues, no problem. It was awesome. The coordination today was the best, in my opinion.
So one of the things that on Saturday was I was talking to the sheriff's department. That's who is protecting the courthouse, and they are protecting the courthouse because, as you know, in other cities, courthouses have been set on fire. Mm-hmm. We have a badass old stone and wood courthouse.
Yeah, it's historical. Yeah,
that's pretty.
I've been in there.
Open.
Yeah, I mean the doors are just open.
I have been too. Is this a brag badge thing?
Several times.
I don't know if they have AC or something, or maybe it's out. But the doors were literally open today. Like they were just open.
Just open. But like as we're standing there, and y'all had gone by the jail and kind of started circling around. Radio came back that the sheriff I'm talking to about things, he goes, hold on, what? Okay. He's like, well, we got word that there's troublemakers in there and they want to storm the courthouse. So we're going in. And all 4 of the sheriff's deputies went in, come back to the door with ballistic gear on. And I'm like, I really hope there's more than 4 trying to hold down this fort.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, on Saturday there was quite a few people going. But what I kind of gathered, and I don't know if I'm just making this up in my head, and from what I've heard from other places, no, they had people in the protest walking with y'all.
Yeah.
And radio.
Most definitely. Yeah. Plainclothes police.
Plainclothes police.
Plainclothes
like
police.
moles.
moles, just
Yeah.
letting
So-
them know, like if they hear
Yeah.
someone talking, because the same thing happened
Mhm.
Sunday
Sunday.
night. That's how they knew
Sure.
to shut down the West 7th
And the
Bridge, because they heard people in there going, we're going to go over there and I'm going to fuck up some bars and some restaurants and some shit,
Yeah.
and all shopping
Yeah.
centers and stuff. And that's why they had a barricade ready on West 7th. Now, what a lot of people don't know, and I want to try to tell this to everybody that's listening to us, is that here in Fort Worth, a lot of attention was spent on the West 7th Bridge.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the main organization that's
Nope.
putting these marches together.
Not at all.
The main organization, when I got done with, I was at Pouring Glory, shooting some stuff and hanging out, and then I drove through downtown. There was probably 1,000 people in front of the courthouse. And I was like, well, that looks like the main group.
Yeah.
And then you have these people on 7th still
Mhm.
over there dicking around. They start throwing water and bleach and
Yeah.
fireworks
And the
at
thing,
the cops.
what cracked me, and it not cracked me up, but when I heard it, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" The ice water. Someone chunked a bottle of water ice. Well, that person just fucking showed up because it's hot as balls, and if you've been out marching for hours, you don't have any ice
Yep.
on you. You don't have an ice bottle of water.
That's the exact same thing I thought. That guy just showed up, and when they were showing the raw aerial footage, the entire backside of 7th towards downtown was wide open. So there's apartments right there. They
Mhm.
could have walked down and
Mhm.
joined or whatever.
hmm
It's probably one of those yahoos or someone
Sure.
that was bussed in, because that on Saturday when I was talking to the sheriff, he's like, man, we've had so many reports today of people people coming in from the Klan, from other white supremacist groups, motorcycle gangs, and people being bussed from Dallas to Fort Worth because they're pissed that Fort Worth was peaceful on Friday night. They want to make a scene.
There
And
are those people are out there for sure.
Yeah, and they're out there. And when Sunday on the bridge happened, I was like, fuck, really?
Yeah. It was
These
disappointing.
guys got through. These guys got through.
Yeah. But thankfully, at least now in retrospect, like that doesn't seem to be the defining moment of this past week. Like it's maybe been the most news breaking and the most covered in as far as the headlines are concerned. But as someone who's down there every day, like that to us and the other protesters, like we're not thinking like the memories there. The people who were there that night are still fucking pissed, but that's not what this is about, right?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
not what this is about.
Okay, so for the people that listen to our show that will never go to a protest, never march, explain to them.
I'm gonna cut you off right before
explain
you
to
say
them
that.
what the end game is of these marches.
So, okay, before we talk about an end game, which I'll get to in just a second, anybody who's listening that maybe thinks they'll never go to a march for anything, I hope that that's true. I hope that nothing changes to the point where you feel motivated that you have to get out on the streets and fight. But unfortunately, for a lot of us, that is not an option anymore. And so I really do hope that for you never have to experience what that feels like. But based on the trajectory that we're headed on right now, how we're trending, right? More and more of us are going to be inspired to go out on the streets more and more, right? Unless something changes.
You just said fight though.
Yeah.
To other people, fight means that's another definition.
If you are on my neck,
Mhm.
what do you expect me to do?
Right. That's
Right?
what I'm saying.
yeah.
But okay, so tell me the difference between you and a rioter then,
Oh, okay. Well, a rioter.
because you're saying fight.
Sure.
To me, fight means aggression, an act of
So
aggression.
okay, well, if, what I mean by fight, I mean by this is I made a list, and then we can move on and we can talk about other stuff or
the
whatever.
end game.
I made a list. Yeah, we can get so. To answer your question that you asked me a second ago, before we get to that,
A fight is kind of a weird word to use in this situation, but also you're showing up in a force of numbers.
Mhm.
You're showing up to show that this is I would say it's more of a movement. Like there are masses of amounts of people that do not agree with what's going on, and they're making it known.
absolutely.
That's the fight.
Yeah, standing up
Exactly.
to oppression. I mean, you just
exactly.
It's not like fist and guns and shit like that.
It's not violence.
It's not violence. It's you're fighting for what's right, not
Right.
being violent.
What
for
is the
what's
end
right.
game?
So in Fort Worth, at least according to the protesters today,
Mhm.
there is according to United My Justice and Donnell Ballard, I did remember his last name now. At Thursday, shout out Donnie. On Thursday at 1:00, City Hall. So if you do not work, if you are a Fort Worth resident, if you are a Fort Worth protester, if you are free at Thursday at 1:00, show up to City Hall. Because there is a city council meeting regarding the protest and regarding these issues. And the protesters have demands. There's 3 demands. I don't know what they are because they didn't tell me what those 3 demands are. But there are 3 demands, and they are going to be expressed at this city council meeting. And so the more people that are there, the larger that message, will be. And so for me, I got things that I'm looking for out of this, right? And I imagine that those aren't the same things that everybody else who's in this movement, right? Everybody has their own personal reasons why they're doing this, right? Everybody has different things. I read something on Reddit today. Someone threw out like, "Well, what does justice mean? Does it mean this?" And I was like, "Oh, that sounds pretty good to me." Like, I don't know. So, what is justice? If the other 3 police officers get convicted, and if Fort Worth creates a civilian review board, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, if all 4 cops get arrested and convicted and put in jail for what they did, and Fort Worth does something and obviously that's not enough. The battle doesn't stop there, right? The fight, if we're going to use the fight analogy, let's keep on using it. It doesn't stop there. But yes, that's a step. That is a first step towards change, towards taking accountability, right? So for me personally, I would be satisfied if, obviously we don't have control of what Minnesota does. That they're going to do what they're going to do. But if Fort Worth can make some accommodations, some changes, if they can, apologize for a Tatiana Jefferson, which I'm sure they've officially done, but
Have they?
Actions speak louder than words.
It was kind of a, hey,
you know what?
we
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it was kind of like a, hey, we got to do this real quick.
Yeah.
Type
I'm just giving them the
apology.
benefit of the doubt. Like, I don't know.
What has happened with all that?
Nothing.
It's kind of a,
Nothing.
sorry about that.
Yeah. I mean, I
we're
think
sorry.
that dude got fired, but I think that's it. Like,
But he should still go on trial.
sure.
assault.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
when is this trial going to happen?
So there
we
was
haven't heard anything.
I didn't know anything about this, and this is the other thing. Our communities in Fort Worth are very segregated, and so I hope these types of activities where this many people of cross ethnic boundaries are getting together in one place. Hopefully, we can kind of break down those barriers. Apparently, there was 2 kids that were murdered on the east side. I never heard about, and
I still hadn't heard about the kid murdered last week in Grapevine.
Yeah,
Was that a
hasn't
rumor
shown
or
up.
what?
No, that was real. There's all sorts of footage on social media.
So, I mean, yeah, everyone's got their reasons. And I heard stories today. I was like, I didn't even know that fucking happened, but I believe you. And yes, that's a good reason for this too, And so, I guess
Go
I'll
into
get,
your list,
I'll
yeah.
get to my thing. Okay, so we got problems. And all these
99
problems are viewed through different lenses, right? We got different perspectives to view them in. So I'm a history teacher. I try to tell my kids everything's about perspective.
Did we tell
Right.
everyone that?
Oh, so
Sosa's a history
So,
teacher, high school teacher.
last time I was here, I was a bassist of Huffer and bassist of Raven Charter.
He's a teacher.
Been playing shows since 2003 in Fort Worth and Dallas and Denton. But I'm now a Fort Worth ISD employee, and I'm a history teacher.
And
for
damn
high
good
school.
one, too.
Thank you.
As you
Damn
go through
good
this
one.
list, I want to hear Dante speak up and
Absolutely.
talk about some of this. I want to hear you pipe in and be like, no, yes, no.
So we can. I mean, it's a lot here. So I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay,
a
Dante, we're
step
going-
at a time.
You know what? Everybody loves the list.
So you're right. So I wrote. So we got systematic problems, right? Like, yes,
For sure.
Derek Chauvin as an individual is guilty, but this is not about individual police officers. This is about systemic problems. To me, that's what I see. Maybe other people disagree, and that's
Top
perfectly
down,
fine.
I believe. I believe it's from the top
But
all
yeah,
the way down.
absolutely. As they say, the fish's head rots from the
Exactly.
top
And
down. yeah.
you hear the people who constantly want to try to say, well, it's an individual problem, but yeah, you're right. It's systemic because it's apart from say Chauvin, you've got the police culture where it's like we protect our own. They do things
Absolutely.
wrong. You don't have enough cops that are standing up for the fact that this other cop did something wrong. I should say something.
Absolutely. And there's laws. There's like police protection laws that have been put in place. I was on my way over here. I was listening to NPR. Some reporter was saying that 43% of police who are fired for stuff like that, for acting out on the job, are hired back because there are so many protections put in place for police officers. You can't fire them. You just can't.
By the same
Yes. So
city?
there's been chiefs who like
Gone
replaced the chief who got fired because something like George Floyd happened, right? A new chief comes in and fires all the cops that did it, and then he has to hire them back because.
So, has anybody kept an eye on this? Like the chick in Dallas, I cannot remember her name because
The lady that shot the guy in the apartment.
yeah.
Geiger?
Yeah, Geiger. Amber Geiger.
Amber Geiger. Yeah.
Has anybody kept an eye on her and see if she's been rehired?
No idea. I wouldn't be surprised if she had though. You know,
Well, she got sentenced though, right? So, I mean, has
she did. She should be in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
because that was
she
a
should
big
be served.
trial.
Yeah, that's right.
last
That's
November.
right. She's got to serve time.
So okay, one of the systems. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 systems, and then some other things. Criminal justice system, right? So we've got problems in the criminal justice system. Well, what are some of those problems, right? Because we could talk the entire podcast about that. We're not going to do that. Well, 5% of the world's population is America. We make up about 5% of the world. However, we make up 20% of the world's prison population. We have more people imprisoned in our country than all other countries, who are doing this as hardcore as we are combined.
It's because it's privatized.
Yep.
It's
yes. So
industry.
You bring me to my next
industry.
point. Absolutely. Private prisons is a huge part of it. Profit motives in general. Like, okay, capitalism's great. I understand capitalism has brought a lot of wealth and a lot of good things, but it has some problems, and we can't just let the system, the free market system, this is me personally speaking, right, do whatever it wants. If there are certain areas of the economy, there are certain areas of society that need protections from those sorts of things. And I think the criminal justice system is one of those things that you shouldn't be fucking making money off of people being in jail. And it's the same companies that are doing this in Texas. We've got, I think, 3 different private prison companies here in Texas. I've got a cousin who's been in jail. He was a Latin King. He's been in jail since 1996. He gets out in October. He is dealing with these types of systems. I still do letters with him and stuff. Those companies also built all the migrant detention centers down south. So all the people at the border that we locked up are being housed in these buildings by private prisons, and those private prisons are paid to keep them full. That is where the profit motive is. Keep these, like, it's like a fucked up hotel, right? If you've got people in the rooms and you fucking get paid. So
I wonder if all the build the wall fuckers know that you're yelling that we need this wall. You're yelling that we need immigration control and all this shit. But did you know what's been put in place is actually privatized, and it's a money driven thing. It's not necessarily a need thing. It's some politicians going to people saying, "Hey, we're going to make this structure it this way, so you guys can make money and we can get our agenda out there."
Yep, exactly. So it's all about the money at the end of the day. Money over
always
people,
is, man.
unfortunately.
If you look at it with something we're going through right now with this COVID-19 thing, a lot of talk has been talked about, like if a hospital will get more money if a patient dies of COVID than if they die of cancer.
So everything's COVID now that
Fucking
comes in.
God, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Dead serious. So someone may come in the hospital and they may die of a heart attack, but if they have COVID in their system, oh no, that's COVID death. So you get more money doing that, and that's kind of the way privatized
Healthcare.
No, privatized prison systems work. Depending on what you do, depending on what you have in there and who they are, what your inmates are incarcerated for, a little bit more change.
That makes sense. And so then you have people who work for those organizations who go lobby to police organizations or to legislators to make certain things in the law so we can lock more people up for that thing so we can make more money or whatever.
You get a bunch of people in there on stupid, shitty weed charges that they shouldn't have.
Yep.
Hell
it
yeah,
doesn't even
that's what I'm
matter.
talking
Yep.
about, man.
So that's another. So you got corruption, you got police corruption, you got police militarization. Obviously, we've got
That's
systemic
scary
racism.
major.
That shit is scary
So,
right there.
Yeah.
Yes. So I brought a book. If one of you guys want to borrow this,
I would love to.
you're welcome. It's called The Counter Revolution by Bernard E. Harcourt. I highly recommend it. I read it a couple of years ago. It's called The
Hold it
Counter
up to
Revolution: How Our Government Went to War Against Its Own Citizens. He wrote it in 2015 or 16, and like right before all this shit happened. But there's plenty of stuff that happened in 2012, 13, and 14.
Okay,
to put in
let
here.
me add to this list a little bit,
Yeah, do it, yeah.
add on to that real quick. So not only do we have the militarization of the police department with equipment, with actual things that are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan that are being used, but the here's my deal. The scariest part, I think, and has added fuel to the police problem and the police brutality and their mentality is, I think that these people coming back from overseas don't need to be put first in line for EMT, police, and fire jobs. They need to be acclimated into the country again, a non-war state. because I think one of the things that's happening is these people are coming back with PTSD. They're not ready. They're coming back all frosty from being in the war field. And then, hey, here's a cop job.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, you're going to have bad things that happen. It's just, I mean, you're going to have a high percentage of PTSD event or just anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, let these guys come home, get acclimated to civilian life. Mm-hmm. And then if they still decide they want to be a police officer, then we'll go. Sure. They have to be screened.
Yep.
We can't just pull them off the war zone and put them in the peace zone.
That with the size of our military budget, that they would find some fucking money to pay for that.
Yeah.
Right? Because we've got troops that are coming home every year, right?
Exactly.
Have you ever looked into how the VFW works and how like programs
$2 beers
military do things? It's ridiculous. Like it's just shit.
Yeah. It's
constantly shit on.
It's a joke, unfortunately.
That whole system is fucked.
Yeah, the VA system, just the medical care.
And this one of the things you said earlier,
just
scrap it. Just start a new one. Like just get rid of the VA and start a new program.
You get $2 beers.
You know, like
$1 beer on Wednesdays.
There needs to be an organization to do that, right? There should be a Veterans Affairs thing, but like that one doesn't work. And rather than like fixing it, whatever that would take, like fucking make a new system. That's kind of my thing. Some of these things are correctable and fixable.
How
Some
far
of
are
them
you on
are
that
not.
list, Sosa?
One.
Because I got some stuff that I want, some direct questions that I'd like to ask Dante and you
please
included.
Do. I don't want to hog the mic. Like,
so before you go to the next one, so I gotta say some of these videos that I've seen of the police officers, to me, seems like virtue signaling, just like celebrities do it in a way. Okay. When you see that, I just like some of it's so hokey, and they're just like the same police officers that were acting a different way. Is it pointed at my dick? Sorry.
Yeah, I was getting
anyway,
messages about your camera. Shit.
What I want to know is what does that do to the black man right now when you see these police officers kneeling? It's like, okay, I know the camera's on me, so I'm going to do a little bit of virtue signaling, act like I've got high morale, and I'm in it for the people too. Does that bug you? Or do you think that, that maybe they did get it now? Or how does that make you feel?
So me personally, because I can't speak for everyone, right? But me personally, when I see that, and I see it being plastered all over television and media and social media, that's the feeling you get. They're doing this for the camera.
Lip service.
Almost. And it's just like, hey, let's do what we need to do to appease everyone and keep things peaceful. Now, and I'll say this because I'm kind of on the fence where, I had police in my family. So, I understand it's a dangerous job, and I get, that police should be, held in high regard. But again, there need to be more police that speak out against these deplorable acts. There should be more cops to speak up and stand up and say, hey, that was fucked up. This isn't right. We need to do something about it.
So
you may speak?
No, yeah, because I don't want to just cut anybody off and come here and be like, ugh. But, so one of the things I talked about the sheriffs on Saturday was that the story they told me, they all feel that it was a murder and it shouldn't have been done.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, if we're being too coded,
which some don't.
I don't know what's wrong
don't.
with you. Like,
Look,
just turn on a TV and look around.
Let me
you
tell
get messages
I posted a
thread?
picture about I Can't Breathe. I just posted it, made it my cover photo.
Yeah.
And I had someone else was like, well, take your hands off your neck, not knowing that wasn't meant to be a joke.
Absolutely.
Like, it was completely in support for George Floyd. And, I had to go and let him. I was like, hey, man, this isn't a joke. Like, this is pretty serious. I don't know if you've watched the news in the last couple of days, but you might want to go delete that comment because you're probably going to get some shit for it, But,
well, I would hope when did that happen?
Well, I mean, it was literally like the day after the video surfaced.
So I hope by this point you've kind of turned on the TV and seen what the fuck is going on outside.
Yeah.
And what's going on across the country. So we don't need to get into all that detail, but one of the things, there were 3 other cops there, and they all just kind of stood there.
Yeah.
And one of the things I talked with the sheriff's department down there was like, they all were in agreement. That was a murder.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a bunch of bullshit. That's not something that is in their handbook or what they're trained to do. This was a guy going rogue or just.
And he done it 5 other times.
Oh, I heard he had like 18 complaints.
He had 18 complaints. I think there are 7 deaths he's responsible for. How the fuck he's on the force?
No
I don't
shit.
know.
But I also heard that Minneapolis Police Department has like one of the highest
they do.
percentages of incidents that have to do with police brutality, right?
Okay.
Or something like, or fatalities that. Were,
Let's just say for shits and giggles, he had 18 complaints. From what I had, he had 7 or 8 deaths. He was responsible for. So let's add that together. Let's go 26.
Mhm.
You fuck up at your job 26 times. Are you still gonna have a job?
Well, this is the
No
front
kidding.
line of systematic problems.
Yeah.
This is exactly
That's
this
it.
is systematic issues.
And it's that
Yeah.
culture
It's
to
the-
protect their
right.
own, you know.
Yep. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
Totally is their culture to protect their own. I've seen
See-
it here locally.
Mhm.
But when I was talking to them, they were like, dude, the guy I was talking to was like, he gave this whole story about this female officer he was working with that was losing her shit, and he had to step in. She ended up chewing him out, and he was like, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're my partner, I'm gonna step in there. Those 3 guys should have stepped in there and said something,
yeah,
or at
tackled the
least
guy.
Yeah.
pushed him off of him and been like, come
Mhm.
on.
Well, shit, the other guys they were holding him down. I mean,
Yeah, they
you know,
were
from the
all-
video,
Yeah.
From that one
you
video.
couldn't see them, but from the other side, you could see they were just all lined up holding him down. And it's like, why? What are you guys doing?
I'm so disgusted by the video that I haven't gone back and done this research, but I want to know, has the 5 minutes been found? Because there's 5 minutes missing.
Of the 9 or outside
Of the 8
9?
minutes. Of the 8 minutes, there
there's-
was like 5 minutes missing.
No,
Like
same
in-
thing. Once
in
I saw it once,
a
I was like, I'm
segmented,
good.
like-
That's kind of the way I was. Once
Yeah,
I
I didn't
saw it,
wanna
I
go
was,
back and
I was
the
rewatch it either.
segment, like in the segment or before or after? Where are you talking about
in
this
the
5
segment,
minutes?
like
supposed to
they
be?
had him down, and then supposedly some forensic video guys have gone in there and looked at it and said
Been some
it's been
edits.
known that there's 5 minutes gone, but in somewhere there was a struggle because the asshole that ended up killing him, I don't want to say his name, was in there for a little bit. He looks all neat in uniform, and then he looks disheveled, and some of the other guys look disheveled. And I was just wondering if that 5 minutes had come out, like if there was a struggle or if there was something going on.
I don't know. Maybe
I
that's
haven't
what
gone
the
back
pro-
and looked
I
because
was-
I don't want to watch the
was
video.
whether there was a struggle or not, that dude lost his
It
life.
doesn't-
No,
exactly.
no,
It doesn't fucking
Yeah.
matter.
No, that's
Yeah.
that's totally. I'm not trying to come up with like what if.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, has that come out to see what the struggle was,
Yeah.
what had happened, what had gone on, just to kind
I
of.
mean, I found myself thinking that on the way over here. I was like, you know what? I don't know what because we heard about what was the guy. There's been so many now. I get all the names mixed up. The guy in New York who was selling cigarettes.
Eric
Oh,
Garner.
yeah.
Eric
yeah.
Garner. Thank you. Like we heard, he was selling cigarettes. That's why the police showed up or whatever. Like I don't even know what the fuck the cops were doing there for George Floyd. Like I never heard.
The what I heard was it's something about forgery. I think it was
Some
like a
money,
forged check.
fake
or
20.
something.
But
Oh, I
again,
thought it was,
at the end of the
counterfeit money.
day, to your point, it doesn't fucking matter.
It's a
Yeah.
non-violent
dudes
crime.
were-
doesn't.
It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter.
Because those dudes, you look at see what those dudes did. It doesn't matter what the fuck he was doing.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
It
Exactly
doesn't.
right.
Maybe if he had just shot up, a school bus full of children, I can see maybe having that action of being like, we need to hold this guy down because,
Oh, you mean
He's
like
a
the dude
madman.
that shot up the fucking Walmart in El Paso and they just peacefully took him away?
Yeah, that
that's a
guy.
bunch of
Or
bullshit.
the
right
asshole
Well,
there.
see,
that shot
that's
up the church in
that's
South
one of the
Carolina.
complaints that you'll hear is we got these mass murders that are going in and gunning people down at movie theaters and stuff, and they're treated almost like royalty when they're getting like. I remember all the protection they gave that kid down in Florida was it Orlando? Where was the school
There
shooting?
was a big
was it
Orlando?
Orlando?
Storm Douglas was the school shooting.
Yeah, that
so
was it.
remember the
Fuck the guy.
remember
in,
they put a like a jacket
Littleton.
over him. We're all like walking him, making sure he didn't get beat up and
Colorado.
stuff. It's like
Oh, Sandy.
the
The movie theater guy.
Yeah.
They gave him all
Yeah.
sorts of
Aurora.
protection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aurora, yeah.
That's
Aurora.
it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's there you go. You're seeing systematic racism in just that. That alone, those
Absolutely.
two comparisons right there. Look at these mass murderers compared to someone that had a fake $20 bill.
I got another one for you.
Go
so
for it.
2 weeks ago, people were storming the Capitol in Michigan, right? Was it
No,
Michigan?
I love this argument.
Oh yeah,
I fucking
Yeah.
love this argument.
Exactly.
haircuts and Starbucks.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Nice.
haircuts
Guns.
and Starbucks. We're gonna roll up in rifles and
With
and
guns.
guns. Which fine, the Black Panthers did that too in Sacramento. Cool,
Yeah.
that's okay.
I bet it was a lot
But you
riskier
see,
for it.
but you see how it was handled, right?
Right.
What if this shit on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday people were rolling out with guns? You already saw how it was
Dallas
handled.
said they did.
Okay. Well, I saw someone with an
I
AR yesterday.
I saw Dallas, but they were like there on the side of like trying to keep things neutral. Like they weren't there with the protesters.
They were still the cost patriots that were out there dressing up, and they had their vest on and their AR-15s, and they were still going.
Well,
out there,
remember the one the
who's
marches that happened about 2 months ago. After I can't, man, it's sad because you're right. There's been so many.
Yeah, you start to get
so many
desensitized
murders.
to it.
Yeah,
It's fucked
But
up.
but the
This
one
is not
remember
normal.
the one that ended up with the guy that went crazy down in Dallas and shot a few cops, like 5 cops, and killed
back
them.
in 2015. So
Oh,
okay,
the one that
finish
blew
your
up?
point, but I want to say
Do
something.
you
about
remember the black dude that had the AR-15 on his? Then they confiscated and like, no, you can't have that here.
Yeah,
That
like,
was-
yeah.
that-
They plastered his face
okay,
all over the news too. I
So
remember that.
when they took his AR-15, that was the day before because there were several marches going on down there.
Mhm.
There was an initial march
What
on a
march was that
first
for?
day.
Was that that wasn't
No,
Travion?
no,
Was it?
that was Alton Sterling.
Alton
that was
Sterling,
killed
that's
in
right.
Baton Rouge, and the other guy,
Castile, was it Flando
yeah,
Castile?
Castile in Minnesota.
Yep.
Yeah,
So that's why
St.
they
Paul,
marched.
yeah.
Damn,
That's why they marched, and so
Minnesota, you're doing great.
Again, yeah, right.
the first
2015.
night was a big like just spur of the moment thing, and some guys showed up with AR-15s, and that's when they walked up and were like, "Come on, don't march with this. We're going to take this from you. We're going to confiscate it." It was like 3 or 4 guys. Now
In Texas, is open carry.
it is open carry. Now, the next night I was supposed to go down there and cover this, and that's when all hell broke loose.
Mhm.
I was sick. I had the flu or some bullshit, but I remember being sick, laying in my bedroom and coming to and turning on the TV and going, "What the hell is going on?"
Is that when you took hydroxychloroquine?
No, that's when I was in Africa.
That's right.
So, yeah, that.
That was crazy.
But
it's a double standard.
You know what? Seeing everything that's going on and the way Dallas PD fucks so much shit up, I can understand someone losing their mind. And one thing we haven't talked about yet is you're talking about a whole lot of people that have been cooped up in their house for 2 months that are pissed off
That's
for
a lot
being
to do with
cooped
it.
up in their house. They're pissed off that they've lost money. They're pissed off that some of them are going to lose their home or not make their bill payments, and that the bill companies don't give a fuck. And they get out on these marches and stuff. And as I will say, as you're marching, you start building up this
Anxiety.
it's not really
Angst.
anxiety. It's more of a like you get this weird strength. Like you're just like,
It's
oh,
energy.
It's
Yeah.
this energy.
That's when
and
I go to
I'm
my
ready
closet
to
and
do
meditate.
shit.
Yeah.
And there are people that don't have a level enough mind that end up snapping and causing
that's
issues.
true.
Or
That's
creative
true.
outlet to get that pent up aggression out too.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And they end
Absolutely.
up snapping and they end up going nuts. And
Yeah.
with everything we've been going on, 2020 has been a shit
Dude,
show. But
absolutely.
everything we've been going on the last couple
Wait
of
till
months.
we get to the elections.
And we have Ebola
Yeah.
today.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
heard.
Second
Yes.
case, Democratic Republic of Congo.
I just want to say,
Neat.
as someone who's been protesting since Thursday, I'm fucking exhausted. I haven't really been eating because me and my wife are so fucking amped, and
Yeah.
we're just so we're
It's
not
a-
hungry.
It's the Adderall, bro. You
It-
gotta
it
take.
feels
you gotta
like
dose
I've-
down a little
I've
bit.
never taken Adderall, but
Would you like
that's
one?
that. No, thank you, thank you though. But that's what it feels like. It's like I'm just up, I'm just going.
Yeah, you're
I'm
amped up.
I'm fucking constantly sharing shit on Twitter or Instagram or looking and seeing what is happening on Twitter and Instagram
Yeah.
about regarding
The fight
this,
and the
right?
fight.
And then then going out to the streets and trying to capture as much as I possibly can, and then go back and
I'll
share
allow
it,
you
let
to give
everybody know
number
what's
2
going on.
then.
Okay, well
Oh,
before
shit, we're still going through this list. I forgot
so
about that.
before that, we need to move on, right? We didn't get to the solution section, right? So I was going to say system, problems, solutions. So we listed a ton of problems with the criminal justice system, right? So I have various solutions that are suggested, right? So number 1, in broken windows policing. If you don't know what broken windows policing is, it's essentially like looking for bad parts of town and policing those parts of town more. If you police those parts of town more, you're going to arrest more people. You're going to disproportionately arrest people of color.
East side
at this
of Fort
point.
Worth.
So, yes, exactly. I used to live on the east side of Fort Worth. I lived at Avenue M and Miller.
I know where that is.
Yes, I used to live fucking over there. I lived in my grandma's house for 3 years. I love the east side. People always talk shit about the east side. It's, oh, dude, it's not safe over there. It's super dangerous. Bull fucking shit.
You know
dude.
what? You know who says that shit ain't
People have
safe?
never been there.
That and all the white guys I work with. I work in East Fort Worth all the time, every day. I love that area.
It's great.
Dude, it's great. Everybody's cool. Now, there is a little bit of conflict between the Hispanic and African American population because Hispanics are moving in and taking it over, and it's kind of getting a little bit of
which is interesting because in the 60s it used to be more of a Hispanic, 60s and 70s.
It did, and then it became African American, and then it became, and there's a little bit of tensions between them.
Sure.
And of course, I don't give a fuck what neighborhood you're in. You're always going to have a bad factor, a bad seed, a bad percentage.
Sure. You're always going to have a Dustin and Stubbs in the
But
neighborhood.
if you're looking there for 75% of your crimes, you're going to fucking find
you're
it.
You're going to find them.
So, okay, in broken windows policing, number 2.
What do you wait. Back, so the broken windows policing, and you're talking about certain areas. So I know, like, some people would argue that it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. Like, they're going there because there's more crime being committed there, or what?
So this is the systemic racism part, right?
It's okay.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
It's like, oh well, black people are dangerous, so we got to go to the black neighborhoods because that's where all the crime is at. Or
and
whatever,
if there's not
right?
crime, okay.
Another example is like if you're out mining and you're looking for diamonds, and that's all you're focused on, and you keep throwing emeralds away or rubies away.
That's great analogy.
You're going to find more diamonds.
Yes.
That's kind of the way it is. Same thing over there. You're over there looking for crime more, and you have a bigger police force. You're going to find it, no matter what, and you're going to stop.
You
so
think anyone's?
But yet, if
you don't
in a
see
neighborhood-
cops around Colonial just like sitting on the streets, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't see that.
And
so the
stopping
same
people
thing-
for you have a broken tail light. They don't do that over
No,
there.
they're not going to pull you over for that.
I'll give you a prime example. So, I lived in Southwest Fort Worth, for the last like 12 years, and I just recently moved to Crowley within the last year. And if you're not familiar, Crowley's south of Fort Worth, about, maybe 10 miles, if that. And the police presence on the southwest side of Fort Worth that I lived in was so heavy. Like, you couldn't go less than a mile without seeing a couple of squad cars just either posted up or just patrolling. Absolutely. Now, I can't tell you the last time I saw a cop.
Where did you used to live on the south side? I live there now.
Do you know where McCart and Sycamore School Road?
Yeah,
that
absolutely. Okay, yeah, I'm right down. I live off of Hemp Hill and Biddison right now.
Okay, so you know that.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Cops are there. I see like fucking 20 cop cars a day in my neighborhood. Absolutely.
I got a question for you about that. When did you see a change of a stronger police presence
in Southwest Fort Worth?
Uh-huh.
So I bought that house in 2007, and it kind of ramped up right around 2010-ish.
Okay, so that used to be one of the areas I worked in really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some new, right there on Sycamore School Road, there were some new apartments being built. There were 2 segments. There was one by the old airfield.
Mm-hmm.
There's one a little further down, more towards where the Roses and Walmart are.
Yep.
Down there. Those, immediately after Katrina happened,
Became Section 8.
Yep. And they moved a bunch of Katrina refugees up there.
A lot of those.
And that's when I noticed the police presence extremely change over there.
So what was the color of the people's skin who came from Katrina?
What do you think?
Is that a trick question?
No. Yeah. Is this
so we can find a correlation
do I get bonus
here,
points?
right?
Yeah.
So we can find a correlation.
We can
here.
find a correlation. But I've been over there working at night, and I've had police officers pull up to me and go, "You know where you are? Do you need protection? Do you want us to hang out here?
Do you need
this
protection?"
is not a good area."
Man, I've never been asked that.
Dude, so let me
They
tell
just
you,
think I'm a smart ass.
So my ex-wife is, she's white, and when we lived over there was a night in particular where we were just going out to get dinner, got pulled over, and dude didn't address me once. Came to the side of the car and asked my wife at the time, "Are you in distress or under duress?" And I was like, "Are you what? Huh?" And of course she's, I'd say she's more hood than I am, right? Like, so she kind of went off on him and told him like, "This is my fucking husband," and like, "What are you talking about?"
You just show the ring and point.
Yeah, like I
You
seriously,
son of a bitch.
of course.
Hell no, man. I'd keep my hands on the wheel.
Well, and that's what I did. Of course, I did all the things. Turned the car off, turned the dome lights on, put my hands on the window, on the steering wheel.
Before we end the show, I want to talk about that.
All right.
I want to go into that. I really want to. I mean, we'll get really dark, but I want to get into that.
We should. So let me rush through this real quick. So we're still on the solutions. We hit 2 of them. In broken windows policing, community oversight, right? Is number 2. Number 3, limit use of force. Seems reasonable enough.
Wait. I hate to stop you down, but you got to have a plan on this community oversight for systematic racism not to enter in on that level too.
So yeah,
if you do how would you?
this is
set
the
that up
benefit. This is
to
the
where-
benefit of having a federalist system is we get to look at 49 other states and we get to look at all those counties in those states and see what they do.
Is anyone
and we
doing
can-
that? Doing
Well, yes,
the
academics. So people who work in the criminal justice field, as far as like PhDs and master students, like my wife, like that's what they do. Now
it
there's a
hasn't been-
crisis there too because the criminal justice academics are not recognizing people in the streets.
Well,
they hadn't said fucking shit about it.
that's what I'm saying. Is there any any cities that are doing the community?
Oh yeah.
There are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a thing in various parts of the country. It's just not something that, and it's been things that have. I want to say, and I'm not too up on the history of Fort Worth. I want to say that we had it here at one point and then we got rid of it. We may have never had it here actually.
So explain what community oversight would be.
I mean, so
for someone that's
the way it's phrased, which I don't even like the framing of the way it's phrased, but it's often phrased as civilian oversight, which implies that police officers are not civilians, but they are. But it's people who were not police officers sitting on a board, knowing what police are doing, and then holding them accountable for their actions. People who are not part of the police department.
Per case, or are you talking about for laws and procedures, or both?
Well, every city does it different, and so this is something like I'm not a policy person expert on this, right? Like I don't exactly know, but my recommendations or my suggestions would be look and see what works. We have hundreds or thousands of examples around the country. You can see who's done what has worked, what hasn't worked. Why don't we do what works, right?
Yeah,
that's my person. But I wish I could give you more details on it, but that's something I'm not.
I got an
too
extreme
educated
form.
on.
It's controversial.
Okay.
Let's dox all the police officers.
No, I don't agree with that. They're people too. They
I'm
have
kidding.
a hard
That's a
fucking
joke.
job.
That's a joke. But
So
I mean, technically, you can do that. You can find anything about anybody. Anywhere,
Yeah, I mean,
so
we're all.
If you
out
wanted to, hard enough, you could find.
So
They
okay,
found that dude's house in Minnesota. Shit.
Sure, I believe
I'm
that.
sure they did.
Independently investigate, regulate, and prosecute police officers. Like the whole regulation and investigating and prosecuting, that stuff's not really happening. Community representation. So there's communication between the police department and the community as regard of like what are expectations, like what are our needs, right? What they're here to protect us, they're here to provide for us. So like what are those things, right? I mean, there needs to be communication there. Body cams, film police. We have that here in Fort Worth. There's still a lot of places around the country that don't have body cams on their police officers.
Really?
Yes. Number 7 is like training, like like that's usually the one that you hear in the news the most. Oh, they're gonna get new ethnic training or whatever. Like cool, that we need to do that, but that's obviously just one of the many things we need to do. Number 8, in for-profit prisons, as you already mentioned. Number 9, dematerialization, which we've already mentioned. On that note, just real quick before we move on, we were mentioning the 2015 El Centro shooting where they shot the DPD police officers. Something that I learned reading this Counter-Revolution book that I didn't learn when that happened was now police officers in America have set a precedent of where it's okay to dispatch or dispose of an American citizen with a drone or a robot without due process.
I was just talking to the.
What y'all think about that
this.
drone that was going around Minneapolis?
Oh,
by the way,
Predator drone.
the one
Predator.
the Predator.
So
That's scary.
this was a conversation I had with Susie a few weeks ago, talking about how that became active with Obama.
Yes.
Starting to be able to drone U.S. citizens on U.S. soil.
Yes.
And when I was down for Hurricane Ike, that's the first time I've seen a drone, a big drone,
Military grade drone.
used,
Yeah.
floating around the city watching shit. And I was like, holy fuck. And there was multiple of them, but it was after Hurricane Ike. The city was blacked out.
Yeah.
It was chaos.
You needed.
But still, it's like,
what are y'all doing with that?
is this drone going to launch shit out of it if someone's, robbing a store?
Yeah, right.
It's really fucked up to think about.
Absolutely.
And
So
especially as
we
you're
have-
just driving
yeah.
around, you go, wow, there goes a military drone. Neat.
Remember the term or the phrase "innocent until proven guilty"?
Yeah.
So we're not supposed to be fucking blowing up or murdering American citizens until they've had their day in court, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So the dude who murdered all those police officers, again, I don't advocate violence against police. I don't agree with what he was doing, but instead of subduing him and arresting him and letting him have a day in court, they took a bomb defusing robot and they put a bomb on the bomb defusing robot and they rolled it over to him and they blew it up.
First time in U.S. history that's been done.
Yes.
And
And
that's fucked up.
absolutely. And
100%.
And you know how many questions that
but-
raised too? Like,
wait.
why did they
So
do that for this guy? You know?
but you guys are also missing. You're also forgetting the fact that he was all over town, fucking shooting people dead.
He wasn't
So-
all
I agree.
over town.
You
He
have
was
to-
in one building.
You have to.
raining down
At
on
some
people.
point, you have exactly. At some point, you
So
got to
here's- let me ask you
got to
this.
take care of the threat
one thing that you
before
hear,
they end
I
other
agree.
life.
I agree. I totally agree with you. One thing that you hear often in regards to the gun violence argument, right, that you hear a lot, it's a mental health problem. It's a mental health problem. It's a mental health problem. These people are crazy. If you don't give them guns and they're crazy, they don't need it. That dude had mental health issues. You brought up PTSD earlier. There's a lot of veterans that come back that have experienced trauma because war is trauma. There's also a lot of people who have been abused in their lives by their parents or by family members. They've experienced trauma. They've got PTSD. They are mentally unhealthy or unstable. Does that mean they deserve to be murdered by a robot because they shot somebody because they're mentally unstable or unhealthy, right?
Man, you kill a sick dog. That's all I'm saying. You kill a sick dog.
That's
Wow.
pretty brutal.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
No, there's
If
other
you
ways.
have to
human
take
life to a
no.
dog, though, man?
Okay, you guys are never going to convince me that the main goal is to stop loss. No matter what
human
happens.
loss?
Yes,
Hold
human
on, hold
loss.
on, hold on.
The guy had already killed 4, or how many people did he kill before? And 5. He had killed 5 people.
You knew the
So at that
weapon he
point-
was using. You knew how many rounds he had. He had an SKS.
Yeah,
Okay, he was shooting 5 rounds at a time.
deadly. SKS
Sure,
is deadly.
there
as
are
fuck.
other situations with
long
people
range.
with worse weapons who've
Yeah.
been subdued by police officers. It's been done.
I have an SKS sitting
That's
in my
fine.
house. Do you know how fast you can rapid fire that thing?
You guys are right. They should have just let him kill some
I'm-
more people
I'm
and
just
figure
saying-
things
No,
out.
no,
That'd have been
you-
a peaceful.
All I'm
So,
saying, look,
so,
there
the
are-
dude, so the
ending.
dude in El Paso, we'll go back to him.
Right.
He was able to be subdued. He had a
He was shot.
It was an auto.
It was an AR.
something.
He was shot.
An AR? Okay.
He had an AR-15.
I thought he was shot.
No, he
I
was
thought
not.
this
no.
was a
No,
guy.
no.
No, there was a car chase that
No.
had some guy killed
You're
him.
thinking about some Waffle House incident, but that's not what we're
No,
talking about here.
the church one.
No, this isn't the church one. In
Oh,
El Paso,
no.
when the dude shot
Yeah.
up the Walmart.
Oh,
just
okay.
drive-
I'm
yeah.
thinking of the church when
this
we
guy-
were at.
this guy was
the
taken
state-
in-
Yeah.
This guy
The
was
state
taken
of
in with no harm. They were able to subdue him. He didn't really. I mean, he resisted arrest, and they were able to get him without killing him. You know, and he killed more people than this guy did the cops. To explain that one, like why is this guy able to be subdued?
And there is a lot of stuff that the cops can use to take him down besides a robot with C4 on it.
Yes.
Now, you
Exactly.
got flashbangs. You can flashbang the shit out of this guy. They didn't have any to use.
Dallas didn't have any snipers on duty that night.
They can call another city and go, hey,
Right,
we need
yeah.
some flashbangs. Roll him in
He'll
there,
be in 20
bang him,
minutes.
and,
He's not
and
going
subdue
anywhere.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't leaving.
Yeah, they knew where he was.
He
wasn't
was
going
stuck
anywhere.
in an office building, and they actually bombed him through the wall.
He was in a parking garage, wasn't he?
No, he
No.
was in an office building.
And they ran the robot through a parking garage or something, right? Wasn't it?
And they may have started up there, but he was in an office, walled off. He had the door barricaded, and what they did is they bombed him through the wall, and that's what killed him.
I'll let you guys explain to the families that listen to this show that they did the wrong thing by ending him.
No,
No matter-
Innocent
how
until
they
proven
did it.
guilty.
Right.
He never had a day in court. He never
So-
had a lawyer. He never spoke a thing about
So
So,
it.
Matt,
what, are they
hold
going to
on,
shoot
hold
him
on.
with a trank gun?
Stop. Do you approve drone strikes on U.S. soil
American citizens.
on American citizens?
If someone was taking people out, no, I don't. Drone. Okay, that's different.
No,
'Cause
it's
they're
not. It's the
using it for
exact same fucking
terrorists
thing. That was a
overseas.
drone.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
so
a drone.
Yeah.
would you approve a drone strike if there was 7 people dead already from one gunman? Would you?
No.
I don't approve gun.
Okay,
I don't approve drone
so-
strikes against humans, American citizens.
Period.
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 Which I do too. But hypothetically,
Guess who paid for that
So,
drone strike?
you have an option that you know is going to work and that you have access to immediately, or you could wait till this guy killed about 7 more people and then you're going to call in. You're going to do it that route. That's the route you would go. You would say, "Hey, let's take some more time
No.
so he can try
Yeah,
to
how
kill some more
about
people."
don't shred
If
the
the choice-
Constitution in the process?
If
How
the
about that?
choice is a drone strike, that is against
You can't.
everything.
You can't. It's not that black and white. It is
It
not
is.
that black and
You
white.
It
can
is that
uphold
black
the
and white.
Constitution,
You cannot-
or you cannot.
No,
I mean,
not
it
in,
is
okay,
black and
you're
white.
telling
That
me
is
if
a binary
I attack
thing.
you, if I jumped across this table right now and attacked you,
Uh-huh.
you're going to be thinking about your constitutional rights? No,
No,
you're not.
But what
You're going to be thinking about fight or flight.
That's two
Your
different
example
things.
is is a system, a bureaucratic system, a government system, executing people with a drone.
No.
You just talked about you and me punching. That's a completely separate situation.
That's not
It's
death.
not even
No, it is.
analogous.
That's not
I know what we're talking about is on another level of chaos.
Exactly.
Like we're talking about a fight.
So that's what I'm saying.
We're talking about fucking a guy that's killed 5 people.
So we're not talking about individuals. That's, at least that's what I came here to say. Is like
We're
this
getting
isn't
distracted.
about individuals.
We're
This
totally
isn't about,
going down. We're
Sure.
We're
No,
totally
no.
losing.
But-
the
No, this
whole,
is good because this is the conversations
Yeah.
that people are having, right? But I want to bring us back to like it's a systematic thing.
It is.
It's
You're
not,
right.
It's not
You're
an
right.
individual, so we shouldn't get
We're
caught up in
getting
the
hung up.
semantics.
We're getting hung up on
of
the drones and the robots.
Exactly.
But
right.
still, like a drone strike.
You're not going to convince me, Dustin. I get you, but you're not going to convince me.
Wait,
man.
hold on.
I'm going to pull.
You're approving, no matter what, a drone strike can happen on U.S. soil, even though that's unconstitutional.
If there was a kid, if there was a guy,
100%
if there
against
was
the
a
law.
mentally ill person that had shot up a school, locked the door, shot up a school, and then took off on a truck, then I would approve it.
So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop you right
I
here.
would approve it.
I'm going to stop you right here. And I'm going to go on history.
History.
Do it.
I'm going to go on history. Okay.
Do it. History's important. Bring up history.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Branch Davidian compound. If drones were available, should they have used one?
No.
Oof.
No.
Oof, that's a good question.
No.
Okay. That's a guy. He's got a gun. He's going to shoot people. He's already shot ATF officers. He's already killed ATF officers.
That was in defense, though.
But you're
You're talking
and
about
he-
someone.
no,
that,
no,
you're
no.
talking
Let's
about
put
someone-
ourselves in the middle of that standoff.
But he's already talking about killing all the Branch Davidians. They were all going to commit mass suicide together. That's what, 50, 100 people.
Mhm.
Do you use a drone
on the whole. Well, if there was a
to
way you
take
could do
him out? Like
yes, I use a drone. Yes, it's so fucking stupid. It's not even the same thing. It's not
No.
the same fucking argument.
But that's the government. That's what they're going to do.
I
They're
get-
going to use a drone. If they can
Again,
use a drone,
yeah.
We're
they're
getting
going to
caught
use
up-
it on
they're gonna do
We're
it.
getting
anything.
caught up.
Yeah.
Well, okay, again, this is
Yeah.
we're way off track because we're talking about robots and drones.
But
Okay?
that's the future.
But
That's
that's
our
the future.
lives.
Si-
Like, that's
but
what we're
when you tie
living.
it back to
What we're
systematic,
saying is terroristic and blow us up right now.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we
That's
could be
a good
droned
point.
as we speak.
They flew drones
I'd support
over
that.
during Hurricane Ike 8 years ago. They flew drones over Houston to take people out.
It's 12,
If they
12
were
years ago.
doing or 12
Why
years
didn't they
ago,
do it?
taking shit out.
Why didn't they do it?
They didn't need it. But
Why?
that's why
What,
they
you're
were
saying
flying
there
them.
was no murder and looting going on there. Then?
Okay, hold on.
not,
Okay,
not mass like
I
they
want to bring us
did.
back because we've only talked about
Agreed
criminal
with
justice.
systematic down from the top.
We've only
down.
talked about criminal justice. There's a lot of other systems that are involved in this, right? Okay, so we've got
Wait, real quick.
Sure.
Obama did kill at least 3 U.S.
Oh.
civilians on American soil
Sure.
with a drone.
Obama
What does that
and
have
drones.
to do with what the fuck I'm talking about? That
Obama-
doesn't fucking have to do with anything I'm talking
Why are
about.
you getting mad?
Because you keep fucking instigating this argument.
I'm not
talking
insti-
about.
He's not.
I'm
talking
saying-
about. I'm talking about.
Dude,
I'm talking
chill
about.
the fuck out.
You
I'm,
chill the fuck out. I'm talking about.
I look so
Changing the
I'm talking
subject.
about.
He's
I'm talking
changing
about.
the
I'm
subject.
changing the subject.
Then why'd you just throw it back out there?
I'm not attacking you,
It doesn't matter.
dumbass.
It doesn't matter. You fucking dumb cunt. You're saying the same fucking thing. What are you doing?
Shit, motherfucker!
What
You want some of it? You want to walk out of here?
Dude, what I'm saying is this.
No, it's not about that. I'm bringing
I'm
it
not
up
saying-
that happened.
I know,
That fucking happened. That's all I'm saying.
but it has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
And I'm not trying to equate it to what you're fucking saying.
Then stop bringing it into the argument.
It wasn't an argument, dumb fuck.
It does. It's just you keep bringing it into my argument, dumb fuck.
So the
It-
Premier
I
League-
said, real quick, here's what
Yes,
happened.
Wimbledon.
Also,
Why?
Obama killed 3 people on U.S. soil.
What does that
It's
have to do with anything?
It
Just
doesn't
so
have to
you
do
know.
Okay,
Just so
I know.
you
with. Like he said, it's a different subject.
Okay, why are we yelling?
Stop, because you're fucking shit up.
The more
How am
you
I
know.
fucking shit up? I'm doing the
You
same
just
thing as
did.
you.
The more you know.
Get back on your fucking rock and go to space.
So the second system that we're going to talk about is the economic system.
Okay.
We have an economic system in this country called capitalism, which works for certain things. I am not an anti-capitalist, though. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you might think that I am a communist. I'm not. I'm a democratic
Are you
socialist.
sure?
I'm actually a social democrat. Would be how I would prefer to myself. Not Bernie Sanders is democratic socialist. There's a distinction. Anyways. In regards to our economic system, we have income inequality, right? We all agree that that's a thing, right?
I have whiskey all over me.
inequality. We have student loan debt.
I threw it against the wall.
We have a economic crisis that we're currently experiencing, right?
That's being
We're in the
amplified by COVID.
Oh, absolutely. We have mass unemployment. We have automation coming up, right? We were talking about that a minute ago with drones, right? Like, their automation is a thing, and
Don't
it's going to
don't bring up
continue to be a
drones.
thing. All right, I'll keep it off of
Don't
that.
bring up drones or robots. Don't
So-
bring up the future.
Our economic system is incentivizes
Dude, don't get me
profits
talking about
over people. So
Skynet.
So profits over people. You know, if you want to fucking sell soda or if you want to make a movie, cool. I guess if profits, you know, you're not hurting people with that industry. But if your industry is criminal justice, if your industry is healthcare, people's lives are at stake with that. You shouldn't have profit be a motive in that. So our solution, because remember I'm going problems and solutions. The solutions in regards to our economic problems would be Bernie Sanders' platform, in my personal opinion. UBI, which is Universal Basic Income, also touted by Andrew Yang. Medicare for all.
Wait. Stop. Whoa. We can't just
You
blow
guys
by
are just
universal.
letting me go. Yeah.
No. Because I've been like, yeah. But universal basic income.
Okay, so this I'm not 100% sold on it, but I'm pretty sold on it. And so there's a book I would recommend to everybody if you are interested in learning more about the subject is called Utopia for Realists by Rutger Bregman. It's fucking fantastic. He's a Dutch historian who essentially takes a bunch of historical analogies from the past 150 years. We're like, yes, they implemented UBI in these countries. This is how it went. Yes, they bought homeless people homes in these states, in the United States and in Canada, and this is how it went. You can actually solve and fix poverty. These countries have done it. These states have done it. This is what they did to do it. So these things can be done, and they have been done around the world. It's just that in this country, we don't know that.
And do you think this is going to help with police brutality?
So that's what I'm saying. This is not just about police brutality, okay?
Or systematic racism.
Yes, this is not just about systematic racism. Systematic racism exists in other systems besides the criminal justice system.
Okay,
The
for
healthcare
sure.
system
For
has
sure.
systematic racism in it as well. So we
For
need
sure.
to, if we take, so Medicare for all, for instance, if we're going to run with one example, if we have a
I'm
Medicare
pro
for all
socialized
system,
healthcare, by the way.
okay,
so.
good.
Yes.
So
that
if that
needs to
happens,
happen.
there's no profits for people being sick. Then it's just all paid for. It's all free.
Well, who gives
Doctors
a fuck about
aren't
profits? We don't need insurance companies. Fuck
Exactly.
them.
We don't.
No, they're the ones
It's
who are
a
making
middleman.
all the fucking money.
Exactly. We don't.
You need
We
to some
straight up don't.
headphones, bro.
And there's
No,
like
I'm good.
50 countries.
I can't believe I
Oh,
broke
no,
these.
I didn't know those were really nice Yamaha ones.
No, they're all good.
But yes,
I've thrown them before, but I
Surprised I
didn't
didn't get mine.
Anyway.
there's like 50 countries or more around the world that got socialized medicine, and they seem to be doing a lot better than we are right now, right?
Good.
So moving on, and please feel free to chime in.
No, wait, hold on. Because I have an idea.
Okay, let's do it.
With this universal basic income, I don't think it's good that everybody 100% across the board makes the exact same thing.
So you're advocating for means testing.
Not means testing. I'm thinking like we make sure that people that don't have access to money, say like you said, homeless, in their homes and everything, they get a flat medium. Now, when you start dealing with the homeless, there is a massive issue because you have a lot of mental issues when it comes to homeless people or abuse issues.
A lot of them are veterans too.
And veterans too.
A lot of them. Yeah.
So I don't think it's fair to start giving a flat income rate to someone that has an issue with, say, heroin
Okay.
or something. They need to be kind of helped out with that.
Okay.
Home, housing, totally fine. But I think if you put 100% of a country on the exact same income, it really screws a lot of things up.
So let me ask you this: not a country. Let me change it just a little bit to a state. Alaska's had UBI for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Has it affected them in a negative way that you see?
Alaska has?
Yeah.
When I was up there, yes.
Okay. I'd love to hear about it.
Wait. Okay.
yeah, if you live in
we're
Alaska,
getting so far off
they
track
give you
of why we came here
$1,000 a
today,
month.
though.
Or was
but
it
they
a
give you
year? Is it $1,000
across the
a year?
board?
You know,
Yeah, something like that.
Any citizen of Alaska gets $1,000 just for being an Alaskan
think
citizen?
It's 2,000
Or do you have to be
now.
native?
2,000.
It's because
So-
of the mineral rights that exist in Alaska. So if you're a state, if you live within the state of Alaska, you get part of those mineral.
What if you're not a
rights.
property owner?
I don't know. I don't live in Alaska.
But
got no
I
fucking
think
clue.
it has to be you're natively born there. You get it. It
So
doesn't
it's
have
like
to be.
it's like
Okay.
Native American
Yeah.
rights, kind of.
Okay.
But you have Inuits
So that
up
is a
there and
means
then
tested
Americans.
thing.
It is a-
What I'm saying is like just fucking give everybody some money. Whether
But-
$1,000, $2,500, like I'm not gonna get in the semantics
Okay,
of the
so
amount.
but a lot of globalists want everyone to have 33, 37, 40, 50, 60,000 a year. That's their universal basic income.
Okay.
Wouldn't they raise
Let
the
me-
cost of living though? If everyone made the same amount of money, Sosa, like let's say everybody got enough money to have $50,000 a year.
Okay.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Sure.
Don't you think?
That's like
Like,
double what the poverty line is now. So.
What? Okay, you mean to lower it?
No.
Or
I'm
where do you
just,
want it?
stating. Like
Hypothetically,
poverty line is about 20,000.
So hypothetically, let's say this: you raise it to 50. Everyone in America makes $50,000, right?
Then that means America's out of poverty.
But don't you do what?
That means America's out of poverty.
No, I don't think it does. But because I think since
If
we're still
everybody in America
capitalistic-
makes $50,000 a year, that is
Yeah.
literally the definition of America being out of poverty.
Okay,
if poverty
for
is
the time
if
being,
20,000
but
is
Sosa,
the definition.
I thought the
for the
median
time
was 37,000.
Okay.
Okay, it's gone
Oh,
up.
hear me out.
Yeah,
Hear me out
okay.
though. For the time being, yes, but you don't think at that point,
Mhm.
then you're going to have capitalistic tendencies of these big companies and everything. Oh, they make this amount, a much amount, this amount of money now. We can raise the prices to this, and then basically what you've done here's my problem with universal income.
Okay.
It seems like this is what would happen. You still have the divide, the income divide. It's just moving up.
Okay.
So it's like prices would change across the board if you did that.
So
I'm pretty sure.
I hear you.
Do-
If you read that book,
When you- not
Utopia,
the-
Utopia,
not
not the Counter Revolution.
Yeah.
I should have brought the other one too. Utopia for Realists, because I have that one too. That doesn't happen. At least in the examples that he gives, at least the
They
five or
talk
six
about that
different
on No
examples.
Agenda too.
But you're giving
That doesn't
what do
happen.
they say?
Oh,
What do they say about
they
that?
talk about Utopia for realists and
Oh.
how they talk about the universal income.
So
So I mean,
But they're
your
anti-globalist.
Your thought process is correct. A lot of people think that, absolutely. But if you look at the evidence, studies have been done about that question, and if you look and see what the studies say, that doesn't
pan out
happen.
like that.
Doesn't happen like that. So
Okay.
here's what I'll just give you a little bit of what I read out of that thing.
we got to
So
get back to
when you get, I'm sorry, I know.
our show.
So when you give homeless people or needy people money, that's the thing. Like you're gonna say, if they got a drug problem, they might spend it on heroin, or if they got a meth problem, they might spend it on meth or something.
there needs to be
Right.
some kind of
Sure.
something there to check on
some
that.
check- and
What
balances
what
and stuff,
happens is if you get, and I think the study they gave it was some county in Canada or it was either Northern America or Southern Canada, I can't remember. They tried it for a couple of years, and then in the '60s they just gave a bunch of people in the city like $500 a week or month or whatever, and they did it for a few years just to see what would happen, and then the new mayor came in and like got rid of it, and they just never did anything. No one even looked at the data. Like they did the study, and then just no one went through it until like fucking 2005 or something, and then they were like, oh shit. This city like totally saved its entire citizenry because by all this money that it gave them, and then when they stopped the program, all the changes that were improved like went away. What people do, if you give a homeless person $100, they don't spend it on drugs. At least the way that these studies show, they spend $3 of it and they save $97 of it. People who are homeless,
What's the percentage on that? Like
I'm
how many
making
people
that-
have you tried?
I'm making that percent.
Not the money wise,
97.3.
but the percentage of people.
Oh, like 97, 98%.
It is up that
the
high?
majority of the people that you give, these people are used to living on nothing.
Yeah.
They don't need money to survive, right? So if you give them $100 to those people is a fucking fortune. If you give someone $100, they're not going to go out and spend it. They're just not.
So when you think about universal
They
income
save it.
and people making this certain amount, and the reason I say I think there still needs to be tiers
Sure.
is because of capitalism, the commercial side of things. But if you had a lot of people down here making this much money, it would also drive some of the things we love. Like Beats headphones don't need to be $150 to buy when they cost $5 to make. You know, the company
so you're
could
saying
still
the adverse would happen then? If it,
that
it would
commercial,
drop?
I think commercialism would come down. You know, you wouldn't have these fucking Louis Vuitton stores and shit that are selling $700 purses that only cost $20 to make. You know, that shit would come down. There would still be a need to want the best or the coolest or the hottest thing, but it wouldn't be out of reach. It would be more like, instead of a $800, $900, $1,500 handbag, it would be more like $80, $90.
Which is bad for corporations. That means
It's
they're
bad for
losing 90% or 50%
But you know
whatever
what?
their money, right?
Welcome
They
to the
don't
new
want that.
world.
Oh, I hear you. I agree. But what I'm going to say is power dynamics. Those corporations have power. Those corporations have lobbyists. Those corporations have bought off politicians, which brings us to
totally.
our next broken system, the political system.
Which, real quick, that's why I was saying, if you go to this universal income thing, those are the things you have to fight, and you would have it would not happen in our lifetime. The stuff coming down, fucking AT&T, the company I work for, charging $75 a month for fiber internet.
Time code.
When it
Antitrust
I
laws.
don't give a shit.
Fucking, it's been like 100 years since we did some real
Dude,
antitrust
it
laws.
does not cost $75 for you to have the fiber internet to your house. It's ridiculous.
No, but they're a monopoly.
They are
you
a
don't got an
monopoly.
option, right? You got to pay that.
Well-
or you can go to Charter and pay the same price, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's the thing. You go to another company and pay the exact same thing.
duopoly. Okay.
So, yeah, when you start talking universal income, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, it'd be great all the way across the board. We all make this much across. But it won't happen in our lifetime. It's something that could get started, but you've got too much on the capital side of things
There's a lot.
Yeah.
that
And so
keep
this is
things up.
this is what I said at the beginning, but I want to reiterate that there are a lot of lenses to see this through that we all, and so a lot of times we pick one of them, right? Like it's like, oh, fucking economics is my thing, and so I'm going to make that argument, or like, oh, criminal justice is my thing, I want to make that argument. It's not one. It's all of these things combined. If you want to ask, if I'm trying to answer the question, what the fuck is going on in our country right now? Like as a historian, like that,
Everybody needs to be asking.
I
that right
became a
now.
historian because I wanted to know what the fuck was going on in my
It's
country
all
in
this we're
2000.
talking about.
right?
All this
Exactly.
shit is what's
Well, see,
aggravating the fuck out of
exactly.
people.
All right. I didn't even want to talk much during this show because I got negative stuff to say, and like
That's
what I was
okay.
telling,
That's
what
a
I was
valid
telling,
perspective,
what I was
okay?
telling Dustin before y'all got here is, I mean, at the end of the day, oh, sorry, man, I took all the ice.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, need some more ice. I have a feeling we're gonna go 30 minutes over.
I'm sorry. I'm
So-
sorry. No, I got water.
Hey,
We're good.
You sure you don't drink? We can get you some ice, I guess.
I'm good.
So, okay, I'm pretty apathetic to this whole thing because I'm sick of having these shows about a black
wait,
man.
wait.
A black man.
I just want to give you the opportunity to. What do you mean by you're apathetic by this whole thing? What is this whole thing?
This whole thing is, I guess the
The
audacity.
past week?
No, I'm talking about since we've been doing the show. I don't understand.
7 years?
Like, what did
Today?
the police force? What did everybody think was going to happen? What did the police expect? What did they expect? They made their bed.
Can I?
And-
so
and-
I
and-
want to
and-
throw
and-
police
this
are
is
not a
dangerous
monolith.
trying to-
Well, I'll say
Do
this.
what?
Police are not a monolith. You can't say the police and refer to all police
Then-
officers in the country.
Hey,
right? Like
okay, so they have unions that tell Dustin, like, hey, this is how you need to be if you're going to work for this company, right? They're
Yeah.
the same thing. You need to monitor yourself. You need to take care of yourself. You're always talking about, hey, clean your scene up. Like if you want to change things, you just clean up your scene. They've been given warning after warning after warning from society that, hey, man, you better get your shit together. You better
So-
figure something out.
so. Let me say,
And they've ignored it.
I hear you. So you're actually saying something that a lot of people on the right side of the political aisle, particularly like Jordan Peterson, he's a guy who's been saying this a lot. He's a guy, I don't know if you guys know who he is or not, or what he
yeah,
says.
we know Jordan.
So-
Peterson is.
Clean your room, right, is one of his rules or whatever on his list of 12, 10 rules or whatever. Clean your room. Keep your room clean. Have a clean house before you criticize other people or tell other people what to do, right? That's one of his things. The problem is some people's houses or rooms are not clean because of these systems. It's not their fault. They didn't fucking make the room messy. They
Who?
were born
You're
into
saying-
a
you're saying
trashed-ass room
the
that
police-
they're not responsible
the
for.
policeman.
No, I'm talking about people of color.
No, that's not your okay. No, that's not what I was saying at all. I'm saying to the legal from, like I said, from the legal system from the top down. You made your bed. You've been given
Ah,
ample
okay.
warnings
Okay, I hear
over
you.
and over again.
I hear you.
There's only we're at a tipping point. And you did it. You ignored every warning that was given to you as a police force as in this country. Every single warning that's been given to you. And you've just gone on about your business and doing things and not doing anything to change yourself. And now we're here today. Now it's time to pay the piper. That's where I start getting dangerous in my thinking because I'm like, it's time to pay the piper. It is time to fuck some shit up because they did it to themselves. Now I'm not talking about going into neighborhoods and rioting and all that, But I'm saying the police, they fucking obviously they're out of control. They're not listening to society.
I mean, you
It's a
look
good
around
old-
the country, yeah.
Well, there was something posted yesterday by a friend of ours that's putting these. I'm not going to say any names because I'm scared to say names. Because especially after what happened last night, I heard there was a lot of white supremacists around downtown
Yeah.
videotaping and shooting people. So I don't want to say any names on this show. But there's a guy that is in the group
Okay.
that has posted he went to Dallas
I got arrested.
and got
I know
arrested.
you're talking about it.
What happened now?
And he related the story of what he was told by police officers in the Dallas jail.
I didn't hear that.
In his post, he talks about how there is segregation even on the police force,
Absolutely.
and that African American individuals are treated a certain way, and they are called a certain name that has been used for years that we all oppose.
N-bomb?
Yes. And they are not cool and in the group until they take out one of their own.
Take out one of their
Hazing.
own.
Hazing.
It's a hazing thing. And
Okay.
I know by my friends
When you say
that
take
also
out, what do you mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
thought you
like arrest or take out like,
like shoot them
wow.
dead.
take them down.
Wow.
So I know by my friends, I wish my uncle was alive because he would have just not given a fuck and come in here and just told us everything because he was a police officer and an investigator in Colleyville. He would have just spilled everything.
That'd have been awesome.
But he died a few years ago. But like, I know the people I know that were in Johnson County Sheriff and Tarrant County Sheriff, they said the same thing. It's segregated
In the police force?
within the police
Absolutely.
force, and everybody is treated different.
What was interesting yesterday, one of the black bike officers. He's like one of the I don't know the positions. He was lieutenant. He's one of the main guys. One of the who's been coordinating with the directors. He came over to talk yesterday, and people were chanting from the crowd, "You're a black face." Like they sent you over here to talk to us because you're a black
Ooh.
face.
That's no
Why
good.
doesn't Betsy Price come over here and talk to us? Why isn't the mayor here? Why are you here talking to
That's
us?
a valid point.
It is a valid point. Unfortunately, the cop was like, I just came over here because I wanted to. Nobody told me to come over here and talk to you guys. I came over here because I wanted to tell you guys I'm here to help, or whatever.
But you gotta take an account too. Like when you're, people are protesting. Like you said earlier, you've got two sides of the protest. You got the
Absolutely.
people who are violent, nonviolent, and you've got people who are angry who will try to find any reason to be pissed off about something. And if they're already angry and then they see someone, come over, they don't know. All rationality is out the window.
Absolutely.
So they just see this black officer coming up. Oh, he obviously was sent over here to talk to us to calm us down.
And it's also like said earlier, this is a hot time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People are
tense.
pent up.
Yeah.
People are tense.
Ask your headphones.
People, they were supposed to disconnect. They've disconnected like 5 times. I've done that, and they didn't disconnect this time. Asshole headphones.
Oh, no.
Anyway, but yeah, this is a very hot time because people have been inside. They're freaking out.
It's a perfect storm.
It's a total perfect storm, and people are angry. People, before this happened, people were angry.
Yeah.
There were so
Absolutely.
many arguments about fucking bars.
About
COVID.
mask.
Bars. Do I wear a mask to a bar? Fuck this bar down here for
Yeah.
telling me I'm a snowflake for wearing a mask or giving me shit.
You guys
People
talked
were fucking pissed about that.
You guys talked a lot about that last week, and
Yeah.
it's interesting to me how the symbolism,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
the politicization, like are you
Of
lefty
anything.
or a righty?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're wearing a mask, you're obviously a fucking lefty, and if you're
Yeah.
not wearing a mask, it's like one of those things where it's like, and it shouldn't be that simplistic, right? Like that's
How
a
about-
dumb reduction.
How about
But
I
it's-
just don't trust any of you fuckers to breathe on me,
Sure,
and I'm gonna wear a mask.
yeah,
I'm not right. I just don't trust any of you assholes.
exactly.
Why can't I wear a mask?
But
I don't get it either.
And it's been interesting to me too to
It's
see how
fucking
we
stupid.
handle it compared to other parts of the country. So I get a lot of news from David Pack from YouTube, right? I don't watch fucking Fox News and NBC and shit because they're full of shit, right?
Yeah.
So I find YouTubers that I trust over years. I watched for a few months. Like, okay, you're legit. David Packman is one leftist that I'm like, all right, you. A lot of people on the left are kind of pissed at him because they see him more as a centrist. But I'm like, this dude's just a fucking straight shooter, right? So yeah, he fucking was talking. Oh man, I'm fucking getting sidetracked. I need to quit drinking this shit. What were we just talking about?
Oh, so what do you think about that kid? God, speaking of YouTubers, man, he was on Rogan's show a while back,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
he
the
used to
Cutie
is-
Pie?
No.
I thought PewDiePie was on there.
That's not
I
what I'm
don't
talking
think
about.
so.
though.
But he's the one
Was
who
he
did
on
some.
there? Really?
Yeah, he did.
He
I never
got
saw him
banned
on
from
there.
YouTube for.
Yeah.
This kid was
Some Nazi
this
symbolism.
kid worked for Vice for a while. He's a skateboarder.
Oh
What was
yeah,
his
yeah,
name?
yeah. I can't remember his name. I know.
But
you're
he's
talking
the
about,
same
yeah.
way. Like he's so he actually. I mean, honestly, at first, you would if you listen to him, you would consider him a liberal. But since Trump's been elected, and just listening to like his deconstruction of the media, and law and just society, now he's like labeled a centrist,
Yeah.
if not a right winger.
And the thing is, labels are fucking stupid.
They're dumb.
Labels are. No one knows
I
what the
don't-
fuck that means.
Why are
When
we
you say the
worried-
left or the right, are
Yeah.
you talking about people? Are you talking about politicians? What
Yeah.
the fuck? It means something different to everybody.
Yep.
Using those labels is
Yes.
dumb because
Totally
you're not
dumb.
communicating an idea, right? They already got an idea what that means.
Yeah, the narrative and talking points have no place in this world right now. What we need is what we're doing today. Guys getting down, sitting down, and women,
Absolutely.
just everyone sitting down and talking about what's going on around them. That's what we need.
Mhm.
That's why Joe Rogan's podcast is so popular.
Mhm.
Is because
It's just
he brings
legit.
guys in and just
Yeah.
lets them say whatever they need to say.
Right or wrong.
Right or wrong. He'll listen to 'em
Yeah.
and think about it.
And that's important. You got to hear people say shit. And if it's wrong, fine. At least you heard it. And then you get to hear other people say, that dude's fucking full of shit. And then you get to hear why. And you go, oh, okay, cool. Now I know. But if you never heard the wrong part in the first place, then you would never know. And
Yeah.
And I really
Exactly right.
like one of the things that's really beating me is people jumping off the deep end without knowing all the facts.
absolutely.
Or we
It's
live in a
insane.
society that they read the headline and they jump the fuck to conclusions, and it's aggravating. You know,
Mhm.
that one of the things that happened before we blew up was the whole Twitter versus Trump thing. And how he was gonna. All the headlines said he's shutting down social media and stuff. No. If you read the articles, he says he wants more fact checking in there. He wants more to where these companies that are receiving money from outside sources to edit post or to hide things need to stop doing that because they're interrupting freedom of speech. And Twitter is really bad at that. There's been a lot of stories of Twitter
And not just Twitter.
killing
It's all of the
people
social media
that do not agree
Medias.
with Jack or what's her name. If they do not agree with their views or the way they lean, they will go in there and just start deleting shit.
I mean, and that's the thing. They're a private company, right? They're not considered public space or whatever. They're not the public forum. I think social media should be regulated and considered as such, but that's not the way that it is right now. So yeah, they can fucking do that.
But
and that's
then
perfectly
you're
legal.
also led to believe that on these social media platforms, you're allowed to use your First Amendment
yeah.
rights.
Well, see, that's the thing. People don't know what the fuck free speech means, right?
I'm
See, now that, see,
I'm
that-
led to believe
Okay.
I can do that.
Okay, serious
and as
question.
soon as I post something, you're going to kill it.
All right. Sosa,
Mhm.
do you think the Constitution needs to be updated?
Well, okay. The
Because you were
premise
preaching about when I was talking
so
about
yes,
jumping over the
this
table.
This is what I teach my students. Okay, that premise is wrong
Why?
because the Constitution is a living document that is constantly changing and updating.
Yeah, there's amendments that they
There are
constantly add to.
26, 27 amendments that
So
have been made.
So you're not saying you're saying that it doesn't need to be rewrote. It just needs to be kept getting amended
So
and bogged down
there's
with red
this
tape.
there's this perspective that people have. They often compare it to the Bible, right? I've heard that before. I grew
The
up in
Constitution?
Burleson. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's not a
be time to move.
yeah. Well, that's where I grew up. So people compare it to it's like it's a document. It's a written document by somebody on high. In our instance, it's the founding
How
forefathers.
about the Ten
right?
Commandments?
Sure. So
I could see that
the
analogy.
10 Commandments
Not
are
the-
done. They're finished. All right, there are only 10. The Bible was written hundreds of years after Jesus died, and a bunch of books were taken out of it by the powers that be at the time, by the Roman Empire, whatever. Fine, it's done. They
And
released a Bible though. It's finished.
And the
It's-
Ten
it's-
Commandments show up midway through.
Yeah, that's true. So and not in just Christianity.
so
too.
the agendas got put. The fix was in.
So, but the Constitution is not done. It's never been done. It was flawed from the beginning. The Bill of Rights
So-
is the first 10 amendments, and it was created like 10 or 15 years after the original Constitution because they missed all that shit. The First Amendment, the second. What is the First Amendment? freedom of speech, right?
Yeah.
Second Amendment, right to bear arms, right?
right.
It's like all of these things they
And for
weren't-
militia.
for
militia.
a right to form a militia.
Yeah.
All of these things, the Fourth Amendment, due process, right? No search and seizure, right? All of these things were missed in the original Constitution. So yes, the Constitution can change. Yes, the Constitution should change. That's the fucking point of it. The
But not
last
be
time we had
rewrote.
amendment was like 1981 or something.
But not be stripped down and rewrote.
Well, so no, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Because
now,
then you get on a
if we
slippery
get to
slope
a
of prison
point
power.
where we're so bad off that it is not working anymore, then yes, absolutely.
Where are we at now?
I don't think we're
What
there
about
yet.
the Bill of Rights?
Yeah, but there's
Do you
been a
start
ton
going in there
since
and
then.
changing things?
I mean, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, the
But you have to
Reconstruction
admit,
Amendments.
But the thing is, though, Twitter is such beyond what they could imagine concept and what we could imagine.
True.
So, like, I don't know. I don't know if I've developed an opinion if we need to rewrite the Constitution or if we
But
just
you know,
need to
Just add some fucking more
but the
amendments.
thing
Put
is-
another
but
Bill
then-
of Rights. There's
okay,
already
but
a
the
10
thing
point.
is, then you get then it becomes this huge. It's almost like when Congress is getting laws passed and stuff, and there's all that stuff that's put in and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what could end up happening. If you
So
if you
let's get all fantasy. I just had a weird idea. Let's just
we let the Matrix run its
what is your vision? What is your vision? Say that happens because maybe,
Of what?
maybe it
What-
fucking will
say
happen.
what happens.
Who
What do you
knows?
want changed?
Who knows? If the Constitution is
What do I-
repealed,
what I
if
want
we
changed?
are not
What do I want-
America anymore, if we become another country,
Things
maybe
addressed.
multiple countries, what do you want to see in that country?
I'm sorry. Say it again. I was
Okay,
referring. I
so
was talking
say
to Dustin.
say America is no
rewrites
more.
the okay.
No.
America's
Let's
more.
just go with your initial premise.
That America's no
the
more.
Constitution's out the window. No more Constitution.
Okay.
So we're gonna write a new document. We're gonna start a new country.
Mhm.
What do you want to see in it?
Man,
That's a lot of stuff.
that is a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. I mean, honestly, I would start off.
That's another 2-hour show.
I know
It
it
is
really
another
is. But I mean that.
I mean, number
for
one,
real though.
number-
Not that you
right,
mean
right
to do
now,
this?
right now, that since it's such a hot button, police force and what they can do and what they can't do, and the protection from the citizens, regardless of anything against the government.
But is that a
And then-
constitutional thing?
I'm labeled a libertarian anarchist, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So,
But is that a
What
constitutional
labels
thing?
you
Because like when you
is
said
what a
Twitter,
constitutional thing.
like the Constitution's really like a broad overall everything, but then you can have like different
Like a
laws put into
concrete-
place.
Yeah,
Because like you said, Twitter.
it's like a
You know,
foundation.
Twitter got bigger than they were, but there's also FCC and Trade Commission laws forced upon those outlets, and that they have to abide by, but also they have to follow constitutional rights. So you have, you have the Constitution, and then you have all these other little judicial laws that are underneath it.
Committees.
Mm-hmm.
You have committees, but it's outrun. Like
Judicial
Twitter,
precedent, yeah.
Twitter and
Yeah.
social media has outrun committee. Like you can't unless something is gonna a whole task force, like a whole another set, like another branch of government, like another branch of the judicial government's gonna sit there and regulate Twitter and everything. It's outgrown all forms of law. Like
So,
how
here's
there's so many.
What do you think of this? Here's a different solution, right? You socialize it. You make it part of the government. You regulate it as if it's part of the government.
That's scary.
What's that like?
That's really scary.
Okay, why?
Because then you don't know, like, what are you going to have a civil community or a civil?
So do you think freedom of
board
speech is
over that?
protected by government entities or by corporate entities?
But
both?
hold on.
A little bit of both.
You already kind of have it socialized when it comes to laws because you have
Mm-hmm.
a House and a Senate that stuff's got to go through.
That's true. That's true.
So it already kind of socialized because you have both sides and even a lot of people that are in different
But the
medium
profit
cards.
motive goes away. Instead of having profits, it's just tax revenue.
That's the problem. Is you got to get rid of all these, everything that can be gained by profit from it
Exactly.
or payoffs.
And so what you're talking about is socialism, and people are fucking terrified of that, and corporations are terrified of that, and they don't want it to be partially owned by the government, thus the people, right? Because if the government owns something, that's technically we own it, right? So yeah, I mean, Twitter doesn't want that, but would that be better for society if Twitter was that? I don't know. Something to think about.
But I really think that if a company puts it out there,
It's called the dark web. So
yeah, Yeah, let me show you the Tor browser. But I'm
It
one
is.
of
That's run by the people. I mean, that's
yeah.
across the
Tor,
board. It's like
absolutely.
Like,
Fucking, I'm with the Tor. Edward Snowden fucking helped start a lot of that shit.
But
Absolutely.
I think if a company lures you in to use their service by saying, "This is an outlet. You can say what you want to do. You can do what you want to do. You can be what." Look, like I said earlier, a Klans member can go downtown, can pull a permit, and have a protest downtown or some type of rally downtown.
but you can't go on Twitter.
None of us like that.
Mhm.
None of us are opposed to that. But that's their First Amendment right.
Sure.
Okay? They can do that. Okay? Just because you don't like something shouldn't be a reason your First Amendment right is pulled from you.
Absolutely.
And that when a company, a social media company draws you in and says, "This is your outlet. Be yourself. Be
Self-expression.
creative.
Yeah.
Express yourself." Then you are luring me in saying I can do whatever I want under my First Amendment rights.
Yeah.
And then you just start editing me.
Yeah.
That's not fair. And I understand they're private companies and they can do what they want.
I agree.
But that's not why you got me there.
Mhm.
You, Twitter, you told me I could come there and express myself and do what I wanted to and say what I wanted to and allow my voice to be heard. Don't edit me.
So what you're talking about is trust in institutions. Twitter's lost your trust, right?
Oh,
Because of
Well,
their
I think
actions.
any social media, when you go in here and you start editing, now there is stuff that needs to be edited.
Sure.
You can't
Like
go in there.
child porn and shit like
Exactly.
that
Sure.
stuff.
I
So
mean, we
there's
go down the very
something.
dark.
It's a very slippery slope.
But you know what? If someone wants to go in there and preach their alt-right bullshit, let them,
Mhm.
because there's so much alt-left bullshit that's already in my feed.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's the thing. People forget that, yes, you are protected and allowed to be able to say whatever you want. That doesn't mean you're protected from society for not liking what you said. People can get pissed at you for what you said. That's perfectly fine. That's the most American
And that's
thing
the
in
thing.
the world.
You know what? If you start posting shit I don't agree with, guess what?
Yeah.
See you later.
Yep,
I don't care.
absolutely.
And that should be the judgment. Your social
Let society decide.
society should judge you, not a company that feels like, well, we can't have this spreading or we can't do this. Now, interfering with election bullshit, that's a whole different realm,
Broken political system.
a conversation we can get
It's
into.
another show.
Different.
A
Yeah.
total different show.
We'll do that
But-
in about
As far as
What,
freedom
4
of
months?
speech, and right now, that's what we're seeing with these protests and their marches. To bring it back to it, you're seeing freedom of speech, people saying what they hate, what bothers them, what they do not like about this situation, and that voice should be heard all over.
That's
no
what
matter
I was
what
going
the
to say.
platform is,
That's the end
no
game.
matter where it is.
That's the end game of the protest, what you just said. I think that's the end game. That's why we have protest, for voices.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have that's exactly why we protest, and we do it the way we need to do it.
So you
Hopefully in
can
a
hear
peaceful
people.
way, so you
Can
can
I,
hear
can I
people.
sprinkle some black on this for
Please
just a
do,
minute?
please do.
We've been waiting for you to sprinkle
Well,
black
I
on
mean,
this.
you know, it's
Just
been-
jump
it's
in
been
here.
yelling. So let me just
Throw
say
your
this.
headphones.
So let me say no. I'm not doing that. So let
Yeah,
me
those
say-
are cheap.
Let me say this. So, part of the reason we protest too, and granted, this is for injustice, police oppression. You got to take into account that the Constitution wasn't designed with us in mind, right? I mean, we were considered subhuman at the point of the Declaration of Independence when it was written. So
citizens.
yeah, like we were cattle.
Well,
So
slavery is even mentioned in
yeah,
the
so
Constitution.
so here's the thing. You got 400 years of oppression. That being part of it, and then you've got police just killing us in the street, and there's no accountability for it, and it's just like a powder keg, and it's been just waiting to be that match, just been waiting to be lit. So, shit, forget the point I was trying to go with. The fact of the matter is the Constitution doesn't really speak for us in a whole. And what's cool about the protests is like you're starting to see the solidarity now. The people that the Constitution was written in mind for now starting to step up to the plate and say, "Hey, this shit isn't right." And shout out to all the cool fucking white people. Appreciate y'all. But it's just one of those things where you have to take that into account too. There's why people may view as people of color being angry because this wasn't designed for us. This country wasn't designed for us. And apart from that, this country is the way it is because of us. Let's be real. Like a lot of the things that we have was built on the backs of slaves.
That is one of the things I've seen memed out quite a bit, is that this is the country that was built on people of color.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for us to not benefit, or reap the benefits from that hard work, over time, and and you've got, I know you've seen the little analogy of the race, where you've got the privileged people of of color have to start further back, and then you've got all these things put in place for people who aren't black. You've got all these advantages and whatnot. And not to say that we don't have the ability to catch up now, but you still have a lot of areas where education isn't as highly education isn't just a must in those part of those societies, whereas say someone from like the Fifth Ward of Houston isn't going to have the same opportunities as someone from South Lake.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
so
Here's something to think about. What if you took, like, this is putting people in groups, so it might not be good. But what if you took
Racist.
black students had to be taught by white teachers, and white teachers had to be taught by black teachers in our educational system? What do you think that would do?
I mean, I think that's still segregation.
And
It's
it was
just, like,
all
with a purpose.
And it was all
but-
restrictions off. No, you get to speak your mind and do your thing. And if you got, if it would be you couldn't have just some white supremacist Hitler guy teaching a bunch of black kids.
But you could.
damn.
What
No.
if you?
I guess
So I got a
I mean,
question
that
about
could happen if that's what you're
if it
rolling
wasn't
with.
if it wasn't set up right in Stubbs Utopia.
You would also have to make sure I would think the class level was the same as far as like where they were as far as how much they
So
had money wise, because I know a lot of African Americans growing up that had a shit ton of money,
Mhm.
and a couple of their wives were teachers.
So I want to make a point.
So I think there's also that you got.
You're saying that there's no forcing of the brains.
So
we can-
I'm not even really going to answer your question. I'm going to take what you said because it made me think of something that's really. I'm like, yeah. So there's a woman. I can't think of the name of the movie right now. There's a documentary. It's like 20 or 30 minutes long. You can probably find it on YouTube. Woman did
loose change.
Did this study in 67. I think it was 67. And she took her classroom. This shit would not be allowed today. But in the 60s, you could get away with this.
Like Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, like Blazing Saddles, exactly. She took her class, and she segregated it by eye color. She
Whoa.
put the blue-eyed kids.
I think
She
I've seen this.
It's fucking. If you haven't seen it, Google it. Go watch
kids
this
were
video.
ended up
It's short.
crying
It's
and
like
stuff.
20
Yeah.
minutes, dude. Yeah. So she did things differently. She took one day and she made all the blue-eyed kids were the special kids, right? They were the good kids, and so she kept telling them all day how
Mhm.
great they were, and all the brown-eyed kids were fucking terrible. And she just told them every day, all day, how fucking shitty they were and how bad of students they were and how they weren't no good and how the blue-eyed kids were better and they need to pay attention to the blue-eyed kids because that's where all the good stuff's at. And those kids did worse on a test that day because she gave them a test, so you started to see their performance, right? That was
And they
the whole
started
performance.
acting out on
Yeah,
it.
they started getting pissed. They started
Yeah.
getting acting out. They failed all their fucking tests. They did not like it, right? Because no one likes being treated like that,
Yeah.
right? And then the next day, or 2
She
days
flipped-
later or
she
something,
flipped.
she flipped it. Yeah, she did. All the brown-eyed kids are the cool kids now. You're the good kids. All the blue-eyed kids are the fucking shits.
What about these green-eyed kids? What,
Well,
what
yeah,
happened
that's
to
what
them?
I'm.
They're just
It
kinda
was
in the middle.
It's a small. It was a small population size. I want to say it was like 60 students or something.
These
There might-
Hazelite
there might have
kids,
been
what
one or
happened to
two.
them?
Yeah, out of those students. But it was the tests that she gave these kids. It was proved on both days that the kids who were the minority group, right, the kids who were criticized against, the kids who were lesser than the other kids, did worse. And so it's one of those things that's like that is an example of the institutionalized racism of it, because just telling somebody, just society, just telling somebody over and over and over again, you're not worth it. You're not as good as other people. You're not doing it right. That is going to cause problems. Right?
Which is one of my arguments, or not arguments, but one of my talking points I've had with people when we've had deep conversations about this is like, you have someone that grows up in East Fort Worth. They live their whole life, and when you're a kid, when we were all little bitty kids, we all wanted to be astronauts or firefighters or a football player.
We were astronauts.
We were
a little bit.
But that's the dream, right? Everybody, all these kids have a dream. But as you're growing up, things start changing. You start kind of seeing the world, and I think like the communities I grew up in, you were still kind of fed like you can go to college and you can still do this and you can do that, you can do that. But if you grow up like east side of Fort Worth, you start hitting your teen years. That's when you start getting kicked in the teeth and really told, you're not going to amount to anything. You're not going to get out of here. You're trapped. You're not going to do anything. And that starts forming issues in your head.
Yep, that seed gets planted.
And that seed gets planted. And this kid that once had dreams and aspirations to be the president of the United States now has been kicked to the curb or treated like shit, or doesn't have, has tried to apply themselves to these different things and just keeps getting beat down, that they never leave that area.
Yeah. So,
and then it just becomes an endless cycle of the next generation. Same thing.
I know
The next
Dustin has
generation,
seen
same
this
thing.
series.
Next
Have you
generation.
ever watched The Wire?
Yes, I haven't finished it. I've watched the first 3 seasons.
Systematic racism. If you want to know,
it's an example. It's the best
that is
example
a
of that.
prime example.
I heard
of
the 4
systematic
seasons the
racism.
best because it's about education, and I'm a teacher and I need to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
I don't want to blow anything, but it's kind of like what I just said.
You're exactly what you just said.
It's a cycle.
It's all a cycle.
It's all just a cycle.
Rinse, repeat.
I mean, I teach at South Hills. Our population is about 65% Hispanic, 30% African American, 5% white and Asian. Like I had 2 white kids this past year. Most of them were people of color. I just want to take a second to tell people. I have a lot of friends that I've known for a lot of time, but not all of them know my ethnic background. I identify as a person of color. My father is Mexican. My mom divorced my father when I was 4, married another Mexican. So I've got 2 sets of grandparents that speak Spanish, that make tamales, that make mole.
Are they good?
That's my
tablitas?
ethnic background, right? Like I grew up eating fucking homemade tortillas. I don't speak Spanish though. So
What's wrong with you?
You coconut.
Well, so here's the deal. Both of my fathers were born in 1984. My stepfather and my father, Michael Sosa and Ruben Herrera, were born in 1954. And in the 50s and the 60s, the name of the game was assimilation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Assimilation. Do not be different than the white people. Be as white as you possibly can be. So my grandparents, on both sides,
They don't speak it?
No, my grandparents are both my grandmother and grandfather. My grandfather's dead now on my dad's side. And then my step grandmother and grandfather, they're both passed away now. They all were fluent in Spanish.
They were, okay.
Yeah, I've heard that before too, where it's like they've got their kids, they want them to be as American as possible,
Absolutely.
so that way they have more opportunity.
Look at my cousin
Absolutely.
Jeremy. Shout out to Jeremy.
So
My cousin's the same.
my
Austin
dad,
beat reporter.
my dad and my stepdad don't speak Spanish, but they're full-blooded Mexican. Both of their parents are Mexicans. I understand that my fathers deal with discrimination within the Mexican community because we don't speak Spanish. I personally,
Oh, they give him shit.
yeah. Well, so here's something else. So that's something that so as a half breed, right? Which maybe is a derogatory term, but I identify. I'm half white. I'm half Mexican. I deal with both. People see me and they think I'm white. Like I grew up in Burleson. I was the only Mexican kid. I'm half, right? But that was good enough to be the Mexican kid in Burleson. I graduated in 2003. So, I mean, I fucking got called Spick and Beaner, and they were joking, all right? Maybe, maybe not. But, yeah, that happened to me in high school. Sure. My dad got called nigger in the 60s when he was 10 years old. My dad's dark-complected. He's darker than a lot of black people. My grandparents are dark-complected, too.
He can say it.
That's the word
Dante?
they used, right?
Are you giving him a pass?
So my dad told me that story when I was like fucking 12 or 13. He's fucking crying, telling me how he got called that when he was a kid. My dad's not even black, right? But that happened. That's an experience
That's
that I
weird as
hold.
shit.
Right? People are fucking dumb. People
They're
who yell
stupid.
that word
They
are
are
fucking
stupid.
dumb,
No,
right?
Dumb.
So yeah, so my dad's he's 60-year-old. He's still affected by that, right? So I heard that when I was a young person.
I didn't experience racism until I came here. So I don't know if you know
To the
my
temple?
background.
Where are you from?
So
Podcast?
So my both
Was
my
it
parents
Matt's
were in
fault?
Maybe. So both my parents were in the Air Force, so they had me in Japan, and I grew up in Japan till I was about 9, and then we came here, and like I said, I went to school in Japan, had Japanese friends. We lived off base for a while. We lived on base for a little while.
Okinawa?
Yokota Air
Yokota.
Force Base. So we were on base, off base for a little bit. All my friends were Japanese. I had a couple of American friends. My parents, had American that had kids there. So when we got here, my mom was looking for somewhere for me to go to daycare. And I remember going to a daycare specifically. It was over by Carswell. I don't remember the name of it. It's the one that had the red steeple on the top of it. I can't remember the name of it.
It wasn't Little Tyke. It was Little Tyke took them over, but I know who you're talking about.
Wasn't there one in Watauga for a while?
Yeah.
Like
Couldn't
Watauga
remember.
Road.
So we go
Yeah,
in,
what it
and
is.
my mom was like trying to get me to get me enrolled. And they straight up told her there were no openings. Like straight
What?
up told her there were no openings. And then as we were walking out, and I specifically remember this.
Wait, hold on. Which side of the base you on? River Oaks or the White Settlement side?
It was on the White Settlement side.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it wasn't I don't know what it was. I forget the name of the place. It was on where Camp Bowie and what is that street? It used to be called Highway 80.
Oh,
Jacksboro?
No,
where it hits Alta Mesa and
no, it's
Highway
before.
80.
Okay, so when you're going, I guess eastbound on Highway 80 towards Altamere.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember the name of that cross street. Anyway, so that's where it was, and I remember going there. As we were coming out, there was another family coming in, and they were doing the same thing. And they were white, and they came in and were like, "Yeah, we're looking to enroll our son here. Do you have openings for someone his age?" Oh yeah, come in, filled out the paperwork, and my mom immediately turned
Son of
around
a
and was like,
bitch.
"What the fuck?" And then like I remember just like confused. I didn't understand what was going on, and I remember
Yeah.
my mom was just like real upset. But that was like the first time I experienced racism.
How old
and
were you?
I was 9. Yeah, it was it was about I just got off
But-
the plane for like a 16-hour flight, and I remember the very next morning we went. My mom was like trying to find somewhere for me to go, and it was nuts, dude.
Like, the Japanese are a very respectable culture. Is there any racism in Japan?
Oh, there's fucking racism. in Japan.
Absolutely.
Is there?
Oh, yeah.
They're one of the most homogenous cultures in the world. Japan is 97.8% Japanese or something like that.
Well,
Like,
I
it's
understand
like,
that,
yeah.
but are they that? Because I know they love Americans, no matter what you are.
So I think
But-
the edge that I had was because my parents were in the military. So like whenever they would pick me up from school, like they'd see my parents in their camo or their BDUs or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, okay, so he's obviously here, on base." But I do remember specifically some of the kids would come up to me and they'd do this, they'd rub their arms up against me to see if the brown would come off, or
Oh my god.
yeah. So there was some racism there, but for the most part, it was pretty cool. But yeah, it was there.
I know they're bad on Okinawa, but it's pretty much because they hate U.S. military, and they get shitty with them. But that's just because
Yeah.
they're U.S.
Can
military.
you blame them?
Yeah, no shit.
I had
whole
I had a-
hydrogen bomb thing.
Yeah, well, I had a question I wanted to ask, and we're going long, but I wanted to ask you, Dante. Is there a specific time where you felt the powder keg was brewing? Really started brewing.
I mean, I would have to say it started for me, that I noticed was around the time Philando Castile died.
And that was
2015.
15. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was
Okay.
15 or 16.
Do you remember the L.A.
Mine
riots?
was
though?
actually before that.
A little bit. I mean, I was, I think it was a 92.
You remember the L.A.
I was
riots?
like
don't
freshman
you?
in high school.
Yeah.
Do
Oh.
you? Okay, so we're there as far as the powder keg
That
point,
one,
don't you think?
That was kind of where mine kind of just went. It happened. The riots happened.
Mm-hmm.
All this
It
cool
freaked me out.
Went out. Oh, it did freak me out. But then I felt that like once it was done, we're cool.
The difference
Yeah.
was this to
Everything's
me.
cool. But I also felt that voices were heard, and maybe
Yeah.
there will be change. But I think you were talking
I
about.
didn't have social media. Then.
True.
I've got it right here. Philando Castile was July 7th, 2016.
16.
Okay.
So you're right.
So I felt that shit started brewing with Michael Brown in 2014 when Ferguson
Absolutely.
blew up.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Ferguson got
That's
to the
a big
point
one.
where it's like,
Well, that was also
you-
the first demonstration of police
Man,
fucking using military
okay.
force against citizens.
Exactly.
yeah.
Right.
And
But
that was what also felt weird.
Okay, I'm not. There. Okay, systematic racism and racism is what it is. It's been there all along, but
Yeah.
now we got this. That's the main thing. That's why this thing's about to blow up. Is because now we have this. Not just the phone to document all the racism that's actually happening, but we have an avenue for these racist dumbasses to get on here and fucking spew their hate and their fucking bigotry and their misogynistic shit. That's the difference. That's why the powder keg. It has to go back with the kids today. The kids today are living in an alternative reality. That's why there's so much depression, anxiety with these kids. It's because, and we don't really understand that. You might,
Dude, my kids
But-
are on the phone all fucking
But
day.
Dustin, you and I, we didn't grow up. We didn't have to grow up with this crap, the
No.
social media and the
No.
cell phones.
But
And who knows how we'd have reacted if
I did grow up with family that was racist.
Oh yeah, no, okay, no. I'm just saying.
Like you got it from a different
The
area.
powder
like
keg.
now you get it kind of trickled in weird ways to where it can build up.
I think it's in your face, man.
Well, no. Before all this.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
say it trickles in and it's just kind of, I can tolerate that. I can tolerate that. I can tolerate that. You know, whatever they're saying, whatever. And it it gradually builds up and you get calloused
Yeah.
to it. When I was growing up, it was like in your face. I had relatives that were just hardcore
Yeah.
racist, just straight out. And even though I have family members
Pretty sure
that are
all
black,
white
I have
people have
family
had that.
members that are Mexican. It was just like they hated our own family, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
That's the
That's
thing.
our
that's
blood.
You mean tell you one of the
That's
saddest points is the fact that this has been around for so long, but white culture has not believed it until we got these goddamn phones to prove it. Isn't that fucking insane?
You know what's funny is
it's insane.
there was
Like,
a
white people just kind of looked the other way and stuck
Yeah.
their heads under the grounds and in the sand and act like it wasn't there until now. But now we have these, and they cannot dodge it anymore.
And
now
it
it has to be
hurts.
dealt
Did
with.
you
And
see
it hurts.
Yes.
the tweet
It's
Will
stupid.
Smith put out like
Yo,
a few
Yeah,
nights
that's
ago?
good. That's good.
That's
What'd he say?
perfect.
He said racism isn't getting worse; it's just getting videotaped more.
It's exactly.
Or it's
He's
getting caught on
exactly
camera.
right.
Mm-hmm.
He's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like I remember the first time that I saw blatant racism, like just ridiculous. I was because I played high school basketball, and so all my friends during the summers we would go to the park and play ball wherever it was. And I was the only white kid at a lot of the parks. And one time we were in Stovall Park in South Arlington, and there was a lot of volleyball players there in South Arlington. And so you had this mixture of all these white kids over here playing sand volleyball in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the night, and then you had all these guys playing basketball. Well, every night there would be a time when they shut the park down. Usually it ended if there was a fight or something, or someone got busted drinking or something. And the cops, the Arlington Police Department, would pull up. They'd they'd tell everybody get the fuck out, scare the fuck out of everybody, and then they would put their cars right here on Stovall Road like this, like 3 or 4 of them just parked like this to make sure everybody left, right? So I was driving my truck, and my black friends that I played basketball with on a 24/7. These were my broskies. Fucking got in Terry's car, and it's funny because 2 of these guys are sheriffs now for Fort Worth.
really?
Yeah, that's really crazy. But anyway, got in this car, and another dude named Adrian got in their car, and fucking. So I pull out, everything's cool. As soon as those motherfuckers pulled out, boop boop, they just pulled their asses over. Didn't have anything to do with anything except playing basketball, and I didn't even know what the fuck to do. I knew something was fucked up, so I just pulled over. The fucking cops came up and told me to fucking
Wait,
leave.
hold on,
They're like,
stop.
you need to leave.
Shouldn't you have learned your lesson right there with what happened a few years later
What happened a few years later?
up in Keller?
Oh yeah, you would think
you
so.
should have stopped.
Oh, you would think
and
so.
pulled
Just-
over and been like, I don't need to stop anymore.
I should just keep driving.
This
'cause
happened
nothing's
when I
gonna
was a kid.
But anyway, that was when I was like, man, racism is alive and well. 4000 BX9, like
Absolutely.
it's there, right in your face. And the thing is, it's just like Will Smith said. Now we have this.
Yep.
It's like that's the saddest part to me is that fucking we've like as a society have just been like, quit your bitching, man. You know. But now they can't say quit your bitching, man, because it's all starting to be documented by everyone.
Good.
Yep. It's like that video I posted the other day on my Facebook page. You know, it's just getting too hard to ignore. You know, not that we're ignoring it or the people protesting are ignoring
Mainstream
it, but the
stuff.
people who have been looking the other way. It's like it's like you see it, you see what's going on, and you can't look the other way anymore.
Do your kids say anything about it? Have they said anything?
Yeah,
But what they're not millennials. They're whatever's earlier than that, like my son.
Zennials or Zoomers or whatever.
Yeah.
Generation Z.
so I've got a little bit of an age range. So I've got a 22-year-old and I've got an 11-year-old.
The 11-year-old is more I was wondering
And-
about because I have a 15-year-old and
Which I'll say my 11-year-old because she's my my girl. She's probably smarter than my 22-year-old. But no, she's and she's very aware of what's going on. She's in
does
fact,
she feel? Has she said anything about like being attacked or being treated wrong?
So she's brought up some issues that where she's gotten into it with some teachers, and she felt like it was racism.
But that's older people.
Yeah,
What about her age?
But her age, no. I mean, it's weird. They get along. Like she's got a very diverse group of friends. Like she's got white friends, Hispanic friends. She's got a couple of Asian friends that I didn't see that coming. She's got black friends. I mean, she's just got a little mixture of everybody. But the only time she's ever really experienced racism was from the teachers at her school, and she feels that she doesn't have a voice at her school. She feels like if she were to go in, and say, "Hey, I felt like this teacher was treating me differently because of the color of my skin," they would not take her serious. And I had to actually have a meeting with a couple of her teachers a few times about it. And of course, they put on the whole song and dance. Oh no, I'd never treat these kids different. I'm not racist. Da 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 da. But my daughter was like, she's giving me all these valid points about why she feels the way she feels. She's telling me things that kids who are, the white kids in her classroom who are doing X, Y, and Z, or getting away with murder, and then the kids of color who are not, who are doing very minimal, are getting yelled at and getting in trouble. And she feels like it's because she feels like these kids, she's telling me things like the teachers calling these kids, they're wild, and just using kind of the little trigger point keywords, they're wild.
Like thug.
Microaggressions.
Yeah, thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
It's like when everybody says thug in the NBA or something like that. You're like, okay, we know what you mean, man.
But she's picking up on that. So of course, her always having your kids, always having a phone in her face. She sees what's going on, with the world around her. And
is she on social?
Yeah, well, she's got a makeup page, right? But she follows like a lot of the celebrities, so of course she gets her news from there. But she's really good because she's like I said, she's smart. She'll hear something and she'll go look it up. She'll go research it. She won't just pass judgment. And I've been really proud of her during like this whole thing with George Floyd because she's like gotten a lot of research. She knows probably more about this whole thing than I do. Sometimes I have to ask her questions, but she's very smart, and she made me proud this morning because she was like, showing me like a live video feed of the protest today downtown at City Hall, and she was like, "Dad, we should be there. We should go down there." And I'm like, "Well, and I'm just probing. I'm like, "Well, what do you feel like we need to go down there?" She goes, "Well, Dad, because not only did George Floyd lose his life, there's other people who have lost their life as well. This isn't going to stop with him if we don't say something." Like, these are words from an 11-year-old little kid.
Dropping knowledge, man.
And I was just like,
she's right.
That's awesome.
She's right.
And that is one thing I will say about these marches is it's not just about George Floyd. It's about everybody.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people carrying signs with lists of names.
Yep.
And it's pretty deep. And that's cool that she has a diverse crowd growing up and doesn't feel too slighted by them.
Yeah. No, and I'll say, when like I said, we moved to Crowley. So, before she was at a school in Southwest Fort Worth, it's still part of Crowley ISD, and that school is predominantly black. And she did mention, like, to talk about the racism card, like, you experience racism from your own people sometimes. Like my daughter's, she's biracial, so she's half black, half white. And like she said she was treated differently by a lot of the black girls, where now she's at a school that's kind of, it's very diverse. There's just a little bit of, I couldn't give you like metrics on what kind of students are there, but anytime I've gotten her from school, I just see different faces everywhere. So, she's definitely having a better time there, but she's not told me about any of the being treated differently or being picked on or
that's good.
Made fun of. So it's a good deal, man. But yeah, people can be racist towards their own people. Like you mentioned your family earlier, you've got people of color and you've got people who are your own blood, and they're talking shit about the people who share DNA with them. It's crazy.
At a family reunion, you start talking shit about people that are sitting.
And I heard most of the racial shit I've ever heard at a family reunion.
Right there, your cousins are sitting right across the table from each other, or grandparents is giving shit to a grandson or great grandson just because of his skin color. Right across the table at a family reunion. It's like
I want to real quick before I know we're wrapping it up. I know we're running late and stuff. I just want to say, since you're talking about education, since I want to say that I forgot this. The first thing I was going to say something about my students.
Damn whiskey.
Coronavirus and teaching.
Coroni macaroni.
Here's the deal with fucking shitty teachers, man. Like this is what I'm learning. Like getting in the education system and seeing the people that I'm working with. And when I work, so I've worked. This is part of what my album's about. My personal experience. I have been a frontline worker my whole life, though I didn't know what that wasn't a term. until I've been a teacher, right? But
I didn't realize I was
Right.
one until a couple of weeks
Right,
a couple
exactly.
months ago.
But
Essential as fuck.
my
It's like, oh,
jobs,
okay.
my jobs up until now have been kitchen line cook, delivery driver, and grocery store employee. So I've worked in produce departments for 5 years, stocking that shit. I've worked in kitchens for about 10
So
years
you want some
or so.
days off?
So yeah, I don't know.
do.
So that stuff that's interesting. Like, okay, cool, that's a thing. Now that I'm at teaching, so when you're in a kitchen, you listen to people. people say, "Hey, your fucking knife technique is terrible. Let me show you how to cut that onion better." Right? Like people give each other advice. People listen to the advice. You improve your work. You work as a team. That's the best thing. That's what I loved about working in kitchens. If you get a crew of 4 or 5 fucking people and you're the A team, shit is awesome. That's the best night of service ever. When you fucking get shit out ASAP. No one's food is late. Everyone's
Making me
fucking
hungry, man.
everyone, dude. That's the best, dude. Teamwork is the best. So I get to education, and like it's the opposite. No one tells anybody what to do because I'm a teacher. It's my classroom. I want to teach my kids how I want to teach, right? And so there's these fucking teachers that are high on their horses that like have been stuck in their ways for maybe 10, some of them 20 years, right? Doing what they do. Oh, I don't need the internet. I don't need fucking new studies or new research. I've been teaching for this long. I want to keep teaching this way, right? So then the coronavirus happens.
And shit without a paddle.
Dude,
This
it's
is
like
learning, right?
everything goes
Yeah.
online, right? So I just got my master's degree about 1.5 years ago. Like I've done online college classes. That shit fucking sucks. It's the worst. Getting an adult to do 3 or 4 classes
Yeah.
of
That's
online
what I was talking
material
about earlier.
is good fucking luck, you know? But I got 9th graders, all right? They're 13 and 14. Some of them maybe 15.
Hormones, ADD.
Yeah. And they've
I have a
never
9th
been
grader.
expected to do online work. I have them maybe do once a month something on Google Classroom for my class. Like
then
I don't
bam.
And then boom, you have 8 classes of stuff. Every class you're expected to do at least 30 minutes of material. So I never got to the system. The education system is one of the flawed systems. We essentially, Fort Worth ISD, because it's such a big system, we bought curriculum and we gave it to the kids. Do this work. I didn't have anything to do with those fucking videos and shit that they bought and loaded and told the kids to do. I went through some of it and I was like, this is boring for me. I'm not going to make my kids do this, okay? Some of these kids don't have internet. Because I'm at South Hills, because I'm on the south, as you were talking about, the south side of Fort Worth, the south side of Fort Worth is impoverished. And so a lot of these kids, so we're, if you don't know, Fort Worth ISD is 1-to-1 a Chromebook district now. So the kids all have Chromebooks.
Right.
They just got, this is the first year we've done this. They all got their books. But some of those kids are sharing those books with multiple siblings and their parents because their parents are working from home too, and their kids and their siblings are having to do schoolwork as well. Like, good fucking luck getting your work done, right? So, I mean, our administrators have been nudging us and hinting us, like, just fucking pass your kids, just pass your kids, just pass, but not saying explicitly that because they're not supposed to say that, right? I fucking passed all my kids. Like, I told my kids,
Did
like,
you give
halfway
them
through.
numbers?
No, so Fort Worth ISD is a pass fail for 5th and 6th 6 weeks, but because a pass fail has been thrown. I'm sorry, we're going so late. I'm so sorry.
No, we're good. I just loved his
It's the
sign.
first time.
Oh, gotcha.
That's
He
awesome.
made a sign.
Because I lost my.
No, you're good. The
No,
train
it
of thought,
was the pass-fail thing.
Yeah,
So
pass-fail.
because pass fail, the whole year's pass fail. You can't have A's for 4 6 weeks and then a P for 2 6 weeks.
Did you
That
at
doesn't
least
work?
Did
right?
you at least do some kind of carrot out there to? I mean, in the back of your mind, you knew what you were going to probably end up doing, but
No.
was there something that you're like, guys, you got to give me some kind of effort?
So they told us,
Like,
teachers, they were like, so here's all this work that we're making the kids do. Help them do it. Be in communication with them through phone and through email to do it.
yeah,
But don't overload them. Don't give them too much schoolwork. So you are allowed as a teacher to give them one assignment a week on top of all these other things.
Did you ever check to see if
No.
they had logged in or anything?
Dude,
Nothing?
So logged in, yes, because
Hey.
as I was required to report which students we had contacted with and which
Yeah.
we didn't. So I would log in to see who had logged in, and if they had not logged in, I
You'd
said
send
I
them an
had
email or
not had no. I mean, yeah, I would send an email, but so here's the deal. Like, teachers can spin their wheels and teachers can spend all this time and effort for right now for what we're doing. They're fucking past your kids. So this
well, check this out. Have you looked at any? This is kind of rabbit holing down this subject. Have you looked at some of the math teachers? What they've done? Like, I was looking at
Yeah.
one of Allie's fucking math assignments.
Is it the weird shit?
And no, it was, I don't know what it was, but it was geometry, and the lady was going in, and it's like her notes were slide by slide, but the problem is it just got so confusing, and she's sitting there talking, and then she's like going back, referring to things, and I'm like, there's no way, like, I don't know if a mathematician could actually do this work and without wanting to pull their hair out.
And are these kids going to do it? Like, so there's this weird thing in education where teachers think parents help their kids with homework.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's not.
That doesn't fucking happen. Like, maybe super privileged kids who have parents who have time.
Like,
yeah, but you don't got fucking time to do your kids' homework,
no shit,
right?
Especially
like,
that.
Dude, and that does not happen, right? So I don't give homework. Unless it's like, hey, we did this in class today, you didn't do it. Do it later, bring it back tomorrow. We're good.
These kids don't need fucking homework.
No,
man.
dude.
They're in school for 8 hours a day.
So what I would
you need to decompress.
Getting back to my point, I'm sorry, I'll wrap up real quick. Getting back to my point, like teachers don't tell teachers what to do. That's kind of like the thing. Like, let everybody do their own thing, right? Well, a week before the fucking 3 weeks ago, before the grades were due for the year, right? Teachers start submitting failure grades. Oh, I got fucking 20 kids who are failing. Oh, I got 40 kids who are failing. Oh, I got 60
Holy
kids who are
shit.
failing.
Wow.
Teachers are failing fucking students because, I hadn't heard from them. They never turned anything in. I don't know. They never did the online work. I don't know. And you've got teachers like me. There's a lot more teachers like me. You know, it's maybe like 60-40 or something, right? And you got the administrators going, well, if you're going to fail a student, you're going to have all this documentation. You're going to have to show me that you've called their parents 10 times. You're going to show me that you emailed them and that they never responded. You're going to have all this documentation to say to fail a kid, right? Some of them probably fucking have, right?
Really?
But I didn't because I passed all my kids, which saved me a lot of work because I didn't have to go through Eduphoria and fucking grade everything. But B, there's these other teachers that are ruining kids' fucking lives because of this coronavirus.
That's what I'm saying.
They're failing seniors.
Unfortunately.
Like, dude, what the fuck, man?
Sosa, unfortunately, I think this is the tip of the iceberg with this whole.
I think we're about to
that's
fall
the
back
thing that's
into
sad, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's sad.
Oh
no, I'm talking about. You're talking about the virus. I'm talking about the impact on the educational system. I think this is the tip of the iceberg.
Dude,
we're in for some
so like
bad
Aiden,
shit.
Aiden got his report card earlier this week, and it was the weirdest fucking thing.
I know.
What did it look like? I don't even
know.
know.
Lane and Alley.
Just a bunch of peas. A bunch of passes.
Peas?
Well, good. At least he didn't.
I'm used to numbers, and then there's just pass.
I don't. And this is the thing. Mine
Okay.
was sent like in a like it wasn't formatted for an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm like, these teachers don't know how to fucking format their fucking spreadsheets. I was like, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to look at this?
Yeah,
and
try working with someone like
But
that.
is that the
like
teacher or is that the
coordinating with
district's
someone
fault? Like their software
I don't know,
didn't do
man.
it. Like,
I don't know.
It's fucked up.
I don't know where to begin.
And
But
so-
it was like P, and what I P's through everything. And Aiden has done. We have him get up in the morning, do his homework, then he can do whatever he wants. He's doing the stuff that's sent to him. But I have a feeling that, and I wanted to ask you, being a teacher, is like, do you feel like this might be the dumbing down of people? Like this last couple of 6 weeks,
until
like
they get a grasp on it.
I mean, you cannot excuse this coronavirus is no one's fault, right? We can't blame certainly the students.
I'm
right?
sorry. I've seen a lot of tweets and memes that say coronavirus was made by Trump and it's Trump's fault.
Oh, okay. Well,
I haven't seen that.
if that's the case,
funny.
we
It's
at
out there,
least
though.
shouldn't
Funny.
hold the students accountable.
Okay.
I mean, this is one of the. It sucks because so I do this. Another thing I wanted to tell you guys before, because I think y'all think this is funny. I do something with my kids. I feel like it's important to have open discussion, just like we're doing right now. This is important. This is helpful. I hope people are learning things from listening to this. I'm sure they are. I do a discussion day with my classes about once in 6 weeks. Once we've gotten through all the work, and we got a Friday,
Y'all just
and
shoot
we're
the
good.
shit.
Dude, I let the kids pick the topics.
Hell yeah.
I say,
dude.
hey, you whatever y'all want to talk. It doesn't have to be about geography or nothing. We can talk about whatever you want. Even if it's not school appropriate, shoot it out. I'll try and figure out how to make it school appropriate.
Fuck
Okay,
yeah,
let's
man.
do that. The kids fucking love it, dude.
Hell
They
yeah.
fucking love
That's
it.
definitely it.
I've got pictures of
Yeah.
all these kids are asking phenomenal questions. I had a female student come up to ask me like, why do prisoners get free meals but students at public schools don't?
Damn.
And I was like, fuck, dude. That is a great. She asked that at the end of the day. I thought this question wouldn't be good enough to ask. So I
Like,
wanted to ask
shit.
this next week.
Like, no,
I was
that's-
like, no, you thought
That's
this
real world
this is-
application.
This
You
is what we
just
need to be
broke
talking-
me.
You need to go to Senate.
Exactly. So Gloria Garcia, keep it up.
She's a future AOC.
Unless you get coronavirus, I get text messages every day where the free
Okay.
meals will be.
So I had a student. So you got these kids, right? You got these kids that like to push it. You know, we'll see where their boundaries are at, right? Let's see where it's at. So I love this kid. I'm not gonna say his name. I love this student. So it's early in the year. I've never done discussion day with these students before. They don't understand how open and honest I am with them, right? So he's testing me. I say, hey, we can talk about whatever, you know, even if it's not school appropriate, like whatever. What do you want to talk about? This kid raises his hand and he says, so if my wife eats my ass out,
Whoa.
is it gay?
Like, hell no, that's awesome. That's a treatful delight.
That was. And what'd you do?
So the classroom erupts in laughter, as you can imagine, me included. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, okay, this is like my second discussion day. I'm like still trying to figure out how to navigate this shit. Like,
Did you
okay.
go? Wait a second. Let's break this down. You're married? Like,
Yes,
let's cut
I'm
it off
married.
at the pass.
I'm married. That's
Okay.
correct.
And she does that?
She does not do that to me.
No,
No, the student
said
the
Oh, I
student
thought-
said that.
Okay,
No,
I thought
no,
the
no,
student
no.
said my wife.
Yeah, he
that
said
is my wife.
it's a hypothetical,
Oh,
right?
okay,
He was
okay.
saying if
I would've
I
done
had
this.
a wife,
I would've
and if
said-
she- yeah.
you got a good wife, man.
Yeah, keep her.
That's what I'd have said. She's a
Keep her.
So what I
She's
tried
a
to do,
keeper.
I turned it. Right, it was one of those things. Like, okay, well, if that's not 100% school appropriate, but we can. You have a legitimate question, and there's something to talk about there. So let's talk about it. And so what I changed it to, you're asking about masculinity, senior. Like, is it a manly thing to do, or not,
What a weird
to let
situation. to be in.
a girl eat your ass out, right? And so we talked about what
Did you
what
make
it
sure
means
all
to
the
be a
cell
man.
phones were put up?
No, the kids aren't allowed to use their phones in my
Okay,
class.
good.
Yeah. Unless
there's a
it's
kid
the end of the day and I give them permission to. But no, I mean, so we talked about masculinity for 10 minutes, and maybe made the girls
That's a
some
good way to turn it
uncomfortable.
around. That's
but
pretty
it's
good.
like, look, this
No,
is what
that's
you're
cool.
asking me. Is it wrong or right? I don't
Sosa's
fucking
a
know.
Jedi.
Who am I supposed to say, right?
He didn't just like stand up and turn around and point to some girl.
No,
in the
no,
class.
no, no, no,
Just
no.
making sure.
It was a
Like,
total
see,
hypothetical.
you hear what he's saying? You hear
And
what he's saying?
After that, man, he never tested me again. He understood, like, oh, fucking Mr. not going to get on me for
That
saying shit or
is.
whatever.
I'm sorry. That's the test. Like he just went. Like how much? What else could you? What else is there?
But
It sounds like a little Dustin
and so I
Schneider
could
in your class is what
I
it
could have
sounds
been an
like.
asshole. I could have written him up.
You could have.
He was using foul language.
You
I
should
could have
have
written him
You
up.
should have
right?
really embarrassed him and said, "Why don't you draw that on the chalkboard real quick? What you're
That'd
talking
have
about
been-
there,
that'd have been a
sir?"
good move. But that back to the trust issue. You were having trust
Yeah.
with certain institutions. The kids need to trust in the education system.
Oh, they do.
They don't. They do not. I'm a lurker
Especially
on the
now.
r/teenagers subreddit because I want to know what my students are thinking about and talking about in their zeitgeist, right? They fucking hate public education.
Oh,
They-
yeah.
They post the spiciest memes about how terrible the public education system is.
But even now, like my son hated school, and then Corona hit, and a few weeks into it, he's like, "I want to go back to school.
Yeah.
I want to go back to school.
Yeah.
I miss my
can
friends.
see that.
I miss
Be-
being in
be
that
social.
environment
Yeah,
and
see,
being
you're social.
And
Yeah.
he's also very pattern oriented, or routine
Structure
oriented,
helps.
structured. And so he was like, "Man, I'm missing that structure. I want to go."
Yeah. It's a big deal. I mean, my wife's been
Huge.
freaking out because she's a grad student. She's writing her master's thesis right now. Guess what's not open right now? Libraries.
Oh yeah, I
Public
forgot about
libraries
that.
are open.
Wait,
No, they are not.
I thought they
Because-
were open
no.
at.
Do they still exist?
So,
I thought Google
right,
took the
first
place
of
of
all,
those.
there aren't
thought-
very many public libraries.
True.
But today was the first day that Fort Worth Public Libraries opened up. 3 branches opened
Yeah,
up.
there's
but
no-
the
they're
downtown, you're only allowed to be there for 1 hour.
Yeah, there's
So if you're a
time
grad
limits
student
and-
doing research,
You're-
that ain't gonna work. She's
No.
been driving to Burleson because their library's been open since May 3rd or something.
Sheesh.
Wow.
But you can't go to universities; they're closed. You're not
Yeah.
allowed to go there. So it's like, well, fuck. If I'm writing a goddamn thesis, like, she can't hang out at the house with me and the puppy. Like, I'm not, I'm not a conducive learning environment unless I'm at school, right? So it's one of those things. It's priorities, right? I don't know.
So I got some other things that I want to hit. We'll do it on another show. That we'll do it because I have a feeling that Sosa's going to come back in here right around
Anytime you want me here,
October,
I'll be here.
November, right around the elections. Probably we're going to have some hot sports opinions because that's shit show part 3 of this year. I guarantee you. That's the biggest shit show that's coming to town. This is like the warm up act.
Is it
One more
really
thing.
a
You got
shit
Corona.
show?
You
One
got
more-
Corona's the
You're right.
opener. Then you have racism. That's the mid like the Fort Worth headliner.
Then we got
And
the
then you got the
election.
goddamn election.
So I
want to
make one point on that.
The headliner.
Before I'm done in regards to change. So already these protests have produced change. You might say, are they fixing the criminal justice system? No. Are they fixing the political system? Or people are waking up? Like maybe, but a small example of change that I have already seen that I would like to point out is on the left. Maybe not where you would think it would be. So there's a fraction of I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter. For those who don't know, I'm wearing a Bernie Sanders t-shirt. A lot of the people who are Bernie Sanders supporters don't want to vote for Biden. Like they just don't want to vote for him. Even though that could potentially lead to 4 more years of Trump.
Mark Cuban.
There's a lot of people who just don't think Biden has done enough to earn their vote. And some of these people that are big voices on the left on YouTube is people like Kyle Kalinske or Secular Talk. He's another person that I follow and watch closely. And then there's The Hill. They're a big publication. They have a YouTube channel. Crystal Ball is one of the hosts of The Hill. Both of them have been strong advocates on the left to not vote for Biden. And people have been really pissed at them for weeks, months now since Bernie dropped out. Because they were super, super for Bernie. And they're like, look, okay, yeah, Bernie's not here anymore. So if we're going to beat Trump, like this is the guy, Biden's the guy, right? This is what we got to do. And they've been saying, too bad, he needs to do better. And so there's been a split on the left between like, well, fucking vote for Biden because he's better than Trump, or like, no, Biden should take up some of these Bernie points or whatever, right? Well, these protests have changed their minds. Kyle and Crystal both have said, look, Trump's doing this to the country. Biden's not going to do this to the country.
Okay, I was going to say that. I've been like not new. Like, last election I voted straight party Democrat. But I think with the Russian shit, which is another show, all that crap, everything that I went through and all that made me want to believe that Trump might be good for the country in some fashion or form. The way he has handled the last
lack of leadership,
the last 2 months of this has
no leadership.
I'm a lot like you, and I'm not gonna vote for Joe Biden. I'm not gonna vote for Trump. Honestly, I'm probably gonna pull a Schneider here and just say fuck it. I'm not voting. Because
no. Go vote. Just don't vote for president. If you don't,
yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
But vote for everybody down ballot.
Which brings me to the.
Didn't vote for president.
Which brings me to
I didn't vote for either president last time around 2016.
Yeah.
I skipped
This brings me to my closing argument here. Is I want to know, because you hear people say that you have to attack this thing. Like, if we want change, you have to start on the municipal voting. You have to start on county voting. You have to start on. But how does one go about finding out how to make a decision on on the ballot? Like who to vote for to get rid of this systematic racism. Like right now, easy for you to say, hey, Stubbs, here's how you get rid of racism and systematic racism. You go vote. You go vote and you vote. Make your voice heard. Vote for the person. Like find that politician.
You hear that at the protests.
Right.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
There's people like me that are dumbasses that need to be. This needs to be exposed. Like, where do I do my research where I find out the city councilman is crooked as a motherfucker and as racist as a fucking Klansman?
So, Matt, that is a fantastic question, and unfortunately, at least to my knowledge, it's not one that has been answered yet. So, in 2014 and in 2016, I was like, dude, someone's gonna fucking come up with an app that's gonna give us all the platforms of all the political people running and whatever. So you can put your zip code in. You can see who your representatives are. You can see what they stand for. Like that seems it would be like really easy to develop something like that, right? Something like that doesn't currently exist. So you have to dig in fucking local news, which isn't always reliable. You have to dig on social media and Reddit and shit. That's what I do. I fucking look every fucking possible corner I can to find a candidate like you're exactly talking about. I shouldn't have to work that fucking hard. It should be really easy to find the candidates to replace the people that we want voted out. Like that's one. I'm super happy that there's been people at the protest the past few days that are just handing out voter registration cards, saying please register to vote. They registered 50 people yesterday. The goal was 250 today. I have no idea if they reached it or not. Yeah, for November you can.
Okay, for November.
Not for the obviously not for the primary.
So what about just the positions then? What do you think some of the most for
But
people?
yeah, but-
What are the most important positions that we need to be looking at to get this shit out of our system? Like
Mayor,
city
Yeah,
council,
mayor's
and mayor.
a big one. Leadership is
mayor?
a big one. That was one of my things on my list. I know we didn't make it the whole way, but like
The-
failure of leadership across the local, state, and federal level is a
County.
part of this.
you need to watch. You need to watch what your sheriff, your sheriff and deputies are all elected positions.
I mean, yeah, and,
And you need
how
to
do we feel
watch
about
that.
that? Is that good or bad that sheriffs are elected or not?
Well, you know what? What's bad is their elections kind of fly under the radar.
Because no one pays attention to them.
Nobody pays
And
attention.
those are
to
the
them.
ones that
and
we
the same
probably
thing
should be.
With Betsy's reelection was on a Saturday.
And they run
I'm Betsy
unopposed
Price.
too. A lot of sheriffs and judges, you look, they're the only one running.
The same thing. Constable is an
Yeah.
elected position, and you need to find out. Like that old friend of mine, he had a pretty sketchy background, and he was running for constable and stuff, and he lost both times he ran because of shit he had been involved with.
So here's one of
But
those
you can
things.
find that stuff like
Yeah.
you start Telegram search, they'll put little stories here and there about certain people and what they
Stay-
Sure,
do.
exactly.
I would say stay away from talking points and narratives. That's horseshit. That's how we get by. That's how we get this
Lip
freaking.
service.
That's all lip service, and that's how we get. That's how we're in our position now. I think
Mhm, absolutely.
is because
And just
too many
being
people
okay
are
with
buying.
that, yeah.
Find out there's bad Democrats out there. Trust me.
Absolutely.
bare-
I mean,
there's
Chuck
bad-
Schumer and
there's
Nancy
bad-
Pelosi are
fuck
bad
yeah,
leadership
dude.
Democrats, dude. They're
There's-
fucking caving left and
there's-
right to the
there's-
Republicans.
exactly.
Stand up for something.
And there's bad Republicans. There's
What do you think
like,
about
they're-
what's her
they're-
name out in California?
Nancy
Run,
Pelosi.
the dude Bashar.
No,
Who? Batar?
the other lady that she's an African American lady.
Little
That's
black
out
lady.
of
yeah.
control.
Yeah,
I'm having a brain fart right now.
he's talking about Scott Compton's in her district, right?
yeah.
What's
She's
her
out
name?
of control.
You know the one that yeah, you do. You'd know her. She
She was running for president. And
she went hard. Oh no, you're talking
no,
about
no.
you're talking about the one that went
The
hard at
senator.
Trump.
Isn't she a senator? Or
Yeah,
county-
she's like,
Oh,
we must impeach is her big thing. Like it's always been that way.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
She's
The
an
one who said,
older woman.
We're gonna fucking impeach Trump
Right,
like 3
right.
years ago. Or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
She's been going hardcore. I mean, at least that's what she's not calming down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way
so
she believes.
she's part of
Maxine.
the squad,
Maxine
right?
Waters, yeah.
Maxine
Maxine Waters. So
Waters, yeah.
it's her, AOC, and who
Which
the other two?
AOC's kind of
She's hokey. She's gonna be.
hokey,
I love her.
airheaded.
She's gonna get.
I think she's a
ousted.
great role model. You
She's a
got-
good remote for
Omar
for
Ilhan.
partition for
She needs some time.
participation.
She's
She
young.
needs
She's
some time.
26. I mean,
She's
someone or 28 now, maybe. But someone was asking, when can AOC run for president? I was
I
like,
bet
when she's
AOC
35.
I bet
she's
you
not
AOC
35
I bet
yet.
you she is just disgusted with her party as she
Oh,
is the
dude,
Republican Party.
she's the best. What I love about AOC, agree or
kinda
disagree
hot.
with her. I don't agree with her on 100% of her issues.
I'd say she's too young.
What she has done as an educator, I think it's important to educate society, right?
Yeah.
She is a person who was like, hey, I was a bartender. Yeah, I got a fucking science degree. Cool, or whatever. But I was a bartender. I am now in Congress. I am tweeting every day to everybody else who's not in Congress. This is what it's fucking like in Congress. This is what I experience on a day-to-day basis. I just walked out of this hearing. There's all these people in the hallway. These people are homeless people that were paid to be here by lobbyists, so the lobbyists wouldn't lose their spot in line for the hearing. So this lobbyist is going to give this homeless guy $300 to stay in the hallway so he can come in the hearing and have his voice heard.
Lobbying still legal.
Broken
in this
political
country?
system. Look at
Why can
Buckley
you be a
versus
lobbyist?
Vallejo, 1976. Look
you
at
can be a
Citizens
professional
United,
lobbyist.
2011. Yes.
That makes no sense.
But that goes back to what I was talking about when we were talking about universal health care or universal welfare. That's one of the things you'd have to kill off. You'd have to kill out these lobbyists that are allowing
Good.
things to get
We
stuff
don't-
cranked
just
up.
like the
Yeah.
insurance companies.
No,
we
I'm
don't fucking
totally
need
good
them.
for it. You don't need the insurance. You don't need the lobbyists.
If you don't, so here's a midway point. If you don't get rid of lobbying, at least make it a law that if you serve in Congress or in the Senate, you can't get a lobbying job because that's what people do.
Yeah.
They just
exactly.
fucking serve time and then they
And
go
they
work
go
for some
private-
firm and
yeah,
then
work
just
for a
fucking
private firm.
Yeah,
well, once
Yeah.
again, that goes back to a good old boy network.
yeah, absolutely.
Once you're there
Absolutely.
and you get your connections and you're
It's-
good to go, you're going to be there.
Yep.
You're going to stay there.
Yep.
It's a good old boy network.
So these are power. This is a power dynamics, power structure thing. If you're
Yeah.
in power, you want to keep power. You're going to make it as hard as possible for everybody else to stop you from having power. That's just how it fucking works. Doesn't matter if it's a communist society or a capitalist society or whatever. Doesn't matter if it's 1,000 years ago or today. That's fucking power. People who have power don't want to lose it. So this is the people doing all this shit the past fucking week. This is people realizing they're powerless, and this is all we have to do. This is all we can do, and this is the people in power watching us. And maybe something will happen, maybe not. But yeah, voting is the only like reasonable action, right?
Smart voting.
We can't fucking go out and riot. We can't fucking burn everything down because if we burn everything down, there's not going to be anything left for us
preserve.
to right. Exactly. Like this
Yeah.
is our society. We're all sharing this. Like we all need this. So we can't destroy it.
Yeah.
So if we can't destroy it, then we need to fucking fix it, right? That is what this entire thing is about. People are fucking freaking out.
I think people are starting to realize we're on a timeline now. Like we're starting to get to the point where if we don't get this shit the ship right, then it's going to be bad times. There's never been the thing is everybody has to remember every great empire has run its course.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and
So-
that's
And
That's the scary part.
If you look at America
US
in its age, it's still pretty young, when you
Yeah.
compare it to the rest of the world. So, yeah.
and going back to the destroying things. I'm not one to promote destroying. I don't think that's right. I don't think it's right in this situation.
I agree.
But if you feel the need
Don't.
to, go after the institutions.
Yep.
Go after the stuff.
Across the board.
Don't go after mom and pop places.
No, yeah.
Don't go after people's residential houses.
Absolutely.
Don't go at these businesses that people have, that's their livelihood. Go after the institutions. Go after the places where it doesn't matter. Go after the places that have insurance policies that can take care of this or that have giant wallets that it's not going to affect them.
Yep.
But if that's where you need to make your message heard, do it there.
Watch Mr. Robot.
Leave these people alone.
Yeah.
Leave these people
the
that
mom and
are
pops
just
alone
trying
Get
to
by.
Get
Yeah.
by,
live
yeah.
and get by.
Yeah, you feel bad for these little mom and pop shops that have, been closed because of COVID, and then
now
they're
they're
just
facing
opening up,
this.
and then now they got to deal with their shit getting
Bam.
burned down.
Yeah, that was one of the arguments yesterday when the curfew came down. Was a lot of people got pissed, saying like, "Well, we were just allowed to go outside again and be able to go to restaurants, and now you're going to curfew me." And my
That's where the
argument was,
conspiracy theories started leaking
like,
in.
I had
too.
a lot of people losing their shit about this curfew. I'm like, listen, first off, it's 72 hours.
3 days.
3 days. You can wait 3 days to hang out to kind
And it's
of
9 p.m. to 6
yeah. What are you gonna be doing after 9 or 8 in Fort Worth?
During
It's
the
8
week.
outside
Yeah.
and out and
Yeah.
about.
during the week and relax. It's all gonna be okay. Just
Aaron Rodgers,
it lets
relax.
let everything. It'll
Relax.
help everything just kind of chill out. But the big picture is
relax.
what a lot of people that I was arguing with didn't understand or didn't seem to understand is this is being put in place to stop the violence, to stop the looting. The protest, they were like, well, we can't go out and protest. Yeah, you can. You have 6 to freaking 8 p.m.
I mean, they stayed
To
out till like
protest.
11 yesterday.
Because
when
the
the
cops
SWAT left,
allowed 'em.
yeah, the cops allowed them and let them do it.
Let them
and,
do it.
And they said when SWAT leaves, we leave. And so the cops said, SWAT, get the fuck out of here. And they left, and the protesters left. And
Yeah.
and they set an example for the country. You look around at D.C., you look around at New York, you look
It's
around
not
at
going
L.A.
that way.
That's
Fuck,
not
look
how
at-
it's going.
Look at Dallas, shit, man.
Yeah,
I
absolutely,
watched
yeah.
I watched the live stream on Saturday where they were just fucking up this cop car and just destroying buildings and stuff. It's
but
crazy.
we're going back down the path, though. Dallas fucked up over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't handle it anywhere near as good as Fort Worth did. If you look at kind of what Austin did yesterday, they kind of went the Fort Worth route,
Good.
helped protect, kept things, going. Fort Worth or Dallas was just kind of like people were running everywhere, all over downtown, and they immediately came out. Let's start tear gas and shit, and
Yeah.
shooting people with rubber bullets. Didn't even try to set up something that was an organization,
Mhm.
and they didn't even meet with the leaders of the different organizations
So
to get things running.
That's another thing. I just real quick, Antifa has been all over the news because Trump was like they're a terrorist organization and people are claiming them as doing this thing. I just want to say on the record, they're not a real organization. They don't have any leadership. They don't have any membership. They don't have any offices. It's a fucking subreddit of crazy people.
It's like anonymous.
Yeah. So I mean, anybody can take that name, anybody can take that mantle and use it for whatever means they deem
You
necessary.
know what's interesting? Wouldn't you? I've kind of tuned out a bunch and just focused on my work lately, and just tuning out on other things. Is Portland burning? Is Oregon just like I
don't
would
know
think
nothing
that
about
Portland
Portland.
is in
I haven't even paid
flames right
attention.
now.
I
But
would think so too, but I haven't even paid attention to them.
yeah, it's like everybody's just mentioning the 4 other cities: Dallas, L.A., New York, and Minneapolis, of course. And
Philly,
then the other one's Philly
Knoxville.
and D.C. Or I guess it's well
Dallas
more
and
than
Houston.
Knoxville,
Yeah.
Tennessee is where they set the that old courthouse on fire.
Yeah.
The old wooden historical courthouse on fire.
Just think, nobody even knows. We just got this big old thing that's bigger than human understanding that's racing towards the universe, about to wipe it all off.
Once again, Meteor 2020.
Meteor.
Yeah, and this is the thing.
It's
like,
not gonna hit us though. It's not gonna hit
like,
us.
you know,
Does
the meme goes
Sosa,
around.
does a
2020.
fire ant think that a human's going to step on its mound?
Well, so I haven't heard recent news, but 6 months ago when I heard about that meteor, they said it wasn't gonna hit us.
I thought it already passed.
I don't think so.
I thought it
Is it?
passed last month. I thought because we talked about it on the show, and it was like a day
Well,
before
remember
it passed.
that. Okay, we got to go because I got some. We can talk about this for a while. I just want to say this: I'm not pro robot or drone, and I don't believe you should kill sick dogs.
Is that your?
That's what I'm going out on.
Is that what's
final
going
answer?
on your
Yeah.
mayor
Right.
thing
With potholes?
There you go.
and potholes?
Yeah.
One thing I want to say, and it was I can't remember if you posted it or someone else did, that it was basically a brick that said, you know,
It wasn't me.
are you sure?
Yeah,
It was a picture. It said like there are good white people, there are bad white people, there are good black people, there are bad black people, there are good Republicans, there's bad Republicans, there's good Democrats, there's bad Democrats, there's good and bad in everything. There's good cops, there's bad cops, there's good and bad in everything. Just because you see that someone, a race, a position, or someone is doing something bad doesn't mean that all of them are bad.
Absolutely.
And that's something we need to remember is just like, you know, not everyone's a bad
No.
egg, but there's a few bad eggs that are in these different.
The world is not
groups.
black and white.
No,
It's
it's
not.
not. There's a lot of gray. And I appreciate you guys coming in.
Appreciate you having.
Same,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Thanks for having me.
I I think Matt and I both hugely value your opinions and what y'all think about
Yeah.
things, and it's
Thank
great.
And everybody else that
Grilling here.
listens.
And this was a long one
Whoop whoop.
For the history books.
for the history, but I don't.
But I feel better, man.
Once
Talked
it's
about
done,
some good shit.
yeah.
You know.
So
Like I said, I have a feeling we're gonna have another one of these though in about
do it.
2
Yeah.
or 3 months, man.
This course is
'cause
good.
The shit show's coming.
It's healthy.
so you're only on Instagram,
Instagram and Twitter.
Instagram, and Twitter
At Sosation.
at Association. Dante,
So I am on Facebook, but so as we were talking about earlier, talking about the old guys in the garage, we are primarily we stream on Facebook, so that's where you can find us now. But we are switching platforms. We're going to multi-stream soon, so look out for that.
Awesome.
You'll find us on YouTube, Old Guys in the Garage, and on Instagram also, oldguys_garage.
Matt, where we can find you?
Me?
Yeah, where can we find you?
Jerry Jonestown at gmail.com. And then Instagram, we got
what's
the
phone number?
JG 1-800.
Nope.
No, wait, 682 973
593.
593 JJTM, which is no, it's not on my keyboard.
Yeah, we can't do it on these keyboards.
I have to open up my phone. Okay, hang on. No, it's not even saying on the phone.
682 593
Yeah.
JJTM. And it will say it on the phone.
Mama, help me.
And you can see us all there. And are you really looking at it? Are you getting it
I'm trying to.
before I hit stop?
Let's see. Okay, the number is 682
593.
5 8 6.
I feel like you just entered a code into war games and we're about to launch a missile or something.
Gulag.
Are you sure you want to play thermonuclear destruction? All right. Thanks, guys, for coming in. And we appreciate it.
All the love.
All the love. Good night.
Yes. Break yourself.
That one stopped twice.
The show did?
Yeah, I think
Something's going on.
this is too new and that's too old. That thing's
Sounds
fucking
like we're about to ask
old.
for a donation.
That thing is fucking
Now
old.
we need headphones.
No, my headphones are already broke anyway.
This is actually
Yeah.
the longest I've been. I'm glad you didn't break mine because I've been happy with these.
Those are the. You know where I got those?
Did you
Those
just
are
pick
the-
them up somewhere?
No, those are the ones that Emerson hooked me up with because he was sponsored by that company.
That really is.
Yeah,
That's a
I don't
large.
know. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
I
if
gave
there's
them
still
t-shirts, man.
practice, but I love those rubber ears.
Yeah, man. Let me see. Like, I
They've
can
held up
find
the
these.
longest out of all the, even the M Audio ones that I had.
Yeah.
Fucking, I spent like
I definitely have.
$90
I
on
can't find your shirt. I definitely got your
employee
little.
discount for M Audio headphones.
Oh, come on.
That's
There's that some old 3D printed keychains and bottle opener.
this cord.
I know you said you don't drink much, but that way you have a keychain or a bottle opener.
And then
for
the
sure.
ride on this one was going out. So I need to see, are they boom or zoom? They're boom, right? Boom. I need to see if they're still in business. Because he gave me, he sent me those.
Headless